Well, welcome, and we are back to
Hi.
another watch party. Jose, how's it going? We
It's
missed you on
going
the
great,
last one.
buddy. How are you? I know I wasn't here on the last one. I heard it was a lot of fun, but I'm back. We got the Leafs and the Habs tonight in Montreal. Uh, Beautiful Montreal, I guess. Well, maybe not that arena, but yes, there they are again for another fun matchup. Another should be another fun one in the books.
I will
Right?
say it's a little criminal though that there's no crowd for this game.
Well, I mean, we've been saying that for the last year now, David. What
But this is
like,
the type of game you want the atmosphere for. Because the thing is, it's not just the Habs fans. I want the Leafs fans battling them.
No, I get that, and let's face it. I mean, I know I would have loved to see fans for the Lightning to clinch their Stanley Cup in Toronto or no, in Edmonton last year, right? I mean, it happens. This is our life. We're used to it now. But yeah, you know what? We're doing watch parties. We're having fun because that's what matters. And before we go any further, because I know the national anthems just wrapped up, and of course, as always, David is always slightly behind of me, which is always hilarious and a wonderful time while I'm just slightly ahead. But yes, the national anthems are wrapped up. But the one thing that I do want to talk about before we go any further is the Edge promo that opened up the show, WWE's Edge. If you know me, no pun intended, you know that I am a huge WWE fan, and you know that even more bigger than that, I'm a huge Edge fan. I love the guy.
What a week it's been with Sportsnet and Edge.
Seriously. I mean, like, you know, I know Edge was on 31 Thoughts, and then he was on a Steve Dangle podcast.
And he was on Tim and Sid as well. That's where it all started.
Yeah, it's all started on Tim and Sid, but yeah, it's just so great, and it's such a great like, you know, introduction to the two teams. And if, of course, you know, you have to know wrestling properly, but the shirt that he was wearing had a maple leaf with a person on it named John Huber, a former wrestler who unfortunately passed away just after Christmas, this past December. Very well respected and very well loved in the wrestling community and the WWE community. Of course, John Huber went on to AEW as well, All Elite Wrestling, where he spent the last of his career there, and unfortunately just lost his life. So I think it was great that Edge honored him because John Huber was a huge Maple Leafs fan. Really, I should have brought that up, but yeah, John Huber, really big Maple Leafs fan, and yeah, I think that's just so great of Edge to do that for a guy again who was so well respected. So you know, I just wanted. But anyways, promo was great. Any final thoughts, David? Before I
was gonna say we were talking about if, let's say, like you were having like a tag team of like Leafs fans versus Habs fans, it would have been Edge, Huber versus like Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens.
Exactly. And the one thing I love to say to my friends, because they know I'm such a big wrestling fan, or as they call wrestling fans, wrestling marks. Wrestling's for everybody. It's for me. It's for you. It's for the children. It's for everybody to love and adore. And you know,
all the children.
Like I feel like no matter where you go in life, there's always going to be a wrestling connection, and that's what's just great about the world of wrestling. So sue me for being a fan, but yes, I love Edge from Orangeville, of course. He was built from Toronto anyway. So that is how I'm going to contribute to this podcast, to this live stream. As of course we go to the live tracker because yes, the game is underway.
We had a close call already.
Very ugly close call. Anderson, I believe, is in net, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes, he is back. He had the last game off because he made 10. He had made 10 straight starts going into Wednesday's game against Ottawa, and then they gave him the night off in favor of Michael Hutchinson.
But you know, was everybody's favorite when the news broke.
Oh, definitely a fan favorite. It's just funny though that, you know, he was back in the line. He was back in, and some people were just like, "Oh, Michael Hutchinson, yay!" But they got the job done. It wasn't pretty. Fortunately, the Leafs scored 7. Usually, when your team scores 7, the likelihood of you losing that game is kind of low.
Well, see, it's funny because it felt like we needed to do 7 because obviously, you know, when was the last time you guys streamed? I'm not 100% positive.
The last time we did a stream was
against the Montreal. The last Montreal game was
it was Leafs Habs on the Wednesday night.
Right, which is
that one was a little bit of a disaster because everyone's stream was pretty much off.
I mean, well, yeah. So now, so I guess now that I'm back, everything's normal. I mean, it's just funny because I mean, obviously, the last time you guys streamed, and then the next time we're streaming is the next time the Habs are playing. Because obviously, if for those that don't know, the Habs had a bye week; they were off for a good while. So the last opponent that they faced were the Maple Leafs, and the opponent they go back to are the Toronto Maple Leafs. So nothing new there. And so obviously, anyways, like the reason why I brought that up was because like 7 goals. Yeah, it felt like we needed to score 7 after what happened on Monday against the Ottawa Senators, down 5-1. Thinking that we already got this in the bag. Very similar to that Boston series back in the day from 2013, but somehow they blew that. And then, so the point I was trying to make is, as soon as it was 5-1 in their last game, we knew it wasn't enough. So here we are, starting fresh. We moved on from that.
We did one of these.
But yes, we moved on from it. And now they take 2 out of 3. Now we go focus back to Montreal. And I just want to say, I know there are rivals, David, but that does not mean they do not have amazing jerseys. Look at them. I love these Habs jerseys. Oh, they're so great. I'm such a big fan.
The thing is, Montreal doesn't have many different alternate jerseys. These ones aren't bad. They take a little getting used to. If you're, I feel like the thing the Habs never did, and they probably should have back in the day, was establish another color. Like red is their color. Nobody's
gonna doubt that.
But we always reference the blue with them, and I'm like, they never really gave themselves like a time where you can get used to Montreal wearing blue. Like this is like the first first time I can recall in all my years watching hockey that the Habs have a primary blue jersey. Like they've had,
which is fine. I mean, it's totally. I mean, I feel like it feels weird to see blue with them because we're so used to the Maple Leaf Montreal rivalry, red versus blue. Honestly, I feel like I will say, like, this is going to sound really dumb, but I feel like it's in all my time watching hockey because, obviously we're considered newer generation of fans compared to like the back in the day, right? I mean, but besides the point, I feel like we've never seen like the graphic that just pops up, right? Like a true blue versus red, right? It was either blue versus white or red versus white. So anyways, the point I'm trying to make is this is just such a nice contrast. It's such a nice difference. I like the shade of blue on Montreal. I mean, there is blue in their logo. But, we're not going to affiliate them with blue because that's us, damn it. That's the sweaters that we're wearing tonight. But I like this look. I like the reverse color scheme on it. I think they should wear these more frequently because I would love to get used to these. But yes, no matter what, at the end of the day, Montreal is red, and that's what they should be. Just red for the rest of their lives. But I like this. I like the splash of blue every now and then.
This is what we like. The funny thing is, like, they call these the reverse retros, which is like you reverse the primary color. This is probably the best example of a reverse retro. Because like Montreal does, and like again, the last time you were on a stream, Willie, come on, damn it. Sorry. This whole part of we're maybe I should tease this now because I mean we're live and I think we have someone with us, hopefully. We do have a guest tonight, our first a new guest to the show, I should say.
Yes.
Andrew Berkshire, someone I know work-wise, I know because I used to edit his articles for Sportsnet, and he's done some work elsewhere, and a great Twitter follow, by the way. I mean, yes, he lives in Montreal. Yes, what's funny, though? Like, he's not primarily a Habs guy on Twitter. That's why I tolerate him a little bit more, and I'll tell him that.
Fair point.
But yeah, he's a great follow. He's helped me a little bit with some stuff I've done in the past. So I reached out to him. I said, "Hey, we're doing this live stream. You free tonight?" He says, "Yeah." He's gotta get the kids to bed. Got to get things sorted out. So we're gonna see him later tonight. He's just got to get himself situated, and then he'll let me know when he is available to come on. We do have a Let's Go Leafs, of course. We're predominantly Leafs. First and foremost, I want to say
this is a Homer fan live stream, which is okay because the more the merrier, and the more to spread Leafs love, the more to spread the Leafs positivity, the better.
Yes, exactly. Um, pretty, yeah. The funny thing, somebody was just like, this game's kind of big for the Leafs in that if they had won their last game against Montreal, they would have put a good amount of separation between them in the standings.
Yeah.
Especially because they had the week that they had where they, like, the Montreal's only played 15 games. They got some games to make up at some point, and the Leafs are up 8 points, but they have 3 games in hand.
Yeah.
So the only way you keep that gap from getting anywhere, you know, you don't want to give them any chance of catching you. And Montreal, honestly, if I'm looking, the only 2 teams that are really a threat right now, I think, to the Leafs in this division are Montreal and Winnipeg. I know Edmonton's been on a bit of a run.
I was just about to say they are. I mean, the last time these two teams met, they were 1-2, especially in the league. So now, I mean, obviously the time apart, yeah, the bye week does somewhat hurt them in the standings. But Edmonton did leapfrog to second in the division with 22 points, Winnipeg in third with 21, and then Montreal to fourth, trailing. And then obviously when you look at the bigger league picture, Montreal dropped to 11th and has like, you know, all those teams ahead of them. But no, but you're right. I mean, this is like a big, I mean, for Montreal especially, this is such a crucial game for them to catch up in the division standings as they need. Obviously, there's no doubt about that, and I know they could use the couple of points, but we'll see what happens. But the Leafs do continue to sit comfortably, by the way, first in the league, 4 points ahead of Florida of all teams. I
was gonna say, if you told me that Florida would have been leading the Central Division and Tampa would somehow be leapfrog. I mean, Tampa's been off. They've only played 14 games, and Florida's only played 15 games. The two of them have had games. You know, they've been off for the bit. This is the issue with looking at schedules right now, and actually a big thing right now, Jose, that they're talking about. And I hadn't really thought about it until recently. Is percentage points, which is basically you don't look at because some teams. I don't think the NHL is going to go by points at the end of the year. I think they're going to go with points percentage in some cases because there's going to be some games. I don't know. They're going to try to make up all the games that have been postponed, and there have been quite a few postponed.
I mean, all you have to say is the word Dallas, and you'll see that their schedule is. I mean, first of all, obviously our thoughts and prayers and all that. They do go out to the city of Dallas because, I mean, jokes aside, I know a lot of people joking around saying, "Oh, they can't handle winters." That's the problem. They're not. They don't know how to. That's a big issue. Yeah. So number one, obviously, we hope they're okay, and hope everything gets restored quickly, sooner, and before we go back to our regular life, somewhat regular despite the pandemic. So it's miserable what's going on over there. But yeah, but in terms of hockey, yeah, it's such a mess. They've already lost, I think, 4 games, 5. I could be wrong. My math could be horribly wrong. And all I just remember, I saw a headline today: Stars scheduled completely obliterated because of all this. And it's
not played 12 games.
Yeah, it's not fun. And don't forget that they were already delayed. Their season was already delayed a few weeks because of COVID problems as well. So it's just not this for a team that obviously wants to go back to the Stanley Cup final. You're like, this is not how they wanted their season to go a year after. And of course, like you brought up point percentage. If we were to sort out the standings by point percentage, at least in the league, Florida stays in first with 800, Toronto 778, and then in the North Division, the Leafs stay in first with 778. And Montreal is in second with 667, Winnipeg 618, Edmonton 579.
Where did you find that, by the way?
NHL.com.
Okay. It's funny because I don't frequent NHL.com as much.
It's literally your best option. Well,
is good too. In past years, you would never have seen points percentage anywhere close to it. So, this is the thing. So, when people talk about, the Leafs are lead because of this, that, I'm like, just look at the points percentage. To
be fair, I feel like everybody always talks about what's a winning season. If you're above 500, you're a winning season, right? And I feel like our threshold with a points percentage would just be 500 and above. You're good. Right, that's all you need to know. 50% or more, and you're fine. But now, if what you say does happen, yeah, obviously everybody's going to be studying it like crazy. and then you realize that Dallas is in huge trouble if that's the case. Because where are they? There they are. In point percentage, well, Dallas sits in fourth. Would be fourth in the division, 583. But I mean, it's only 12 games, right? And the most that have been played in that division, in the Central Division, is 19 with Chicago and Detroit. Columbus trailing by 18. So still, only 12 games. My God,
it's not pretty, and I do feel for these teams because this is stuff that some of it's out of their control, and some of it, I don't know if you saw. I read this a few hours ago. Rasmus Ristolainen, who's a defenseman for the Buffalo Sabres, talked about his COVID experience. Maybe I'll send it to you, Jose.
Yeah,
I felt like this.
I did see that today briefly. I didn't read too into it. As by the way, 6-1 shots on the.
Yeah, I was just about to say
still 0-0. I know we're talking about what's going on around the league, but hey, you know what? There is a little league going on, but it's been very quiet to start. I did see the headline today. I didn't read into it a lot today because I was looking at it while I was working, so I had to just obviously take care of other stuff while I was working. But yeah, I believe I did read that he was just not having. It was just a really bad reaction to COVID, which happens. It is the case. It is what we've been seeing in the world. Obviously, it's the last thing you want to hear, and with the NHL and out of their bubble now, it's like it's unfortunate that more of these situations could come up.
I'm trying to find it right now. It was up on social media. It was up on Twitter that I saw it. He basically said that it felt like he wasn't if he was to go to sleep, he wasn't sure if he was going to wake up.
That's scary. That's holy. Can you imagine living like that? It's awful.
Low oxygen levels, exhaustion, heart pains. Couple of nights he thought it was so bad he didn't know if he'd wake up in the morning. He'd wake up 12 hours and feel like he slept 5 minutes.
That's scary. Sleeping for 12 but feeling like it's 5 minutes. Oh my goodness. That's an ugly contrast. 12 hours to 5 minutes. Oh man, that's terrible.
And these are guys. These are athletes. These are athletes. These are not. These are guys who train for, extreme conditions and, put their bodies through a lot playing hockey. And COVID is playing it almost like a tug of war with them right now.
Yeah, it's really not. I mean, you could just say that for just 3/4 of the divisions in the NHL right now. I will say that obviously I'm surprised that this deep into the season by now, essentially almost a quarter in, and the North Division has been fine, which is I guess fortunate. It's weird to say because obviously you want the same for the other divisions as well, and you want just clean, healthy hockey, or not just necessarily just sports in general, but obviously. Sports means nothing at the end of the day when it comes to health, right? I mean, I know we're speaking again just as fans and just from the sports perspective, but it's more than that. We're definitely not saying that this is the be all end all, right? For health, it's not. This is not what the end goal is, right? So, have a full season of hockey, but yeah, it's just that's just the unfortunate reality right now. So yeah, it hasn't been fun.
I also think just the North Division, the environment up here in Canada is just so different than the States. We've pretty much have put ourselves. We're not New Zealand level lockdown, but we're close. We're pretty close to it.
So on a side note, oh my goodness, Freddie has just been spectacular in these last little bit here. Very lucky, and to be honest, it should be 1-0 Montreal.
I'm going. Yeah. Okay. Don't be fooled by. I think on the tracker it says 7-4 in shots. The 4 shots that Montreal's had.
There's another one right there. There's another one right there.
I'm sorry. Okay. So I don't understand. Josh Anderson only plays well against the Leafs. I do not understand it. It's annoying. Number 2. I don't understand. The Leafs are just. Now this is the case. Also, Montreal has been off for a week. and they've got the fresh legs. But come on, guys. Whoa. That was not a good few minutes for the Leafs right there.
No, it was not at all. That
like
was
just look at the replay here. Like
it was just rebound after rebound. Again, I mean,
he fanned on that, and then how does Anderson not put that one in front of the
that's
net?
what I was saying. It should have been 1-0. I mean, sure, give props to Freddie. You know,
he missed it.
coming up the day off, but eesh.
Well, Sheldon Keefe kind of alluded to say that he was Freddie's kind of dealing with something. It's not totally 100%. That's the message I got. He said Freddie wasn't going to be the backup because he wasn't the backup on Thursday. It was Joseph Woll, and
right.
As Sheldon Keefe said that Freddie was dealing with stuff. And I'm like, we're okay. We're okay. You just don't like. Look, I understand there's been a lot of talk about Frederik Andersen and it's his contract year, and it hasn't been pretty for him at times.
Yeah, you can say that. I mean, I know there's
but he's still coming up big. He's your number one. I mean, if Jack Campbell was available, maybe he would get more games, but he's not. That's the unfortunate part right now.
Yeah, it's cool. It already feels like a while. It already feels like an eternity since Jack Campbell hasn't been with the team. But I mean, obviously with how the Leafs has been since the injury, I think we can somewhat say, okay, you know what, it's okay. Let Campbell rest up and go, right? Because obviously, I mean, Hutchinson just had the one game, which has been fine. I don't think I've seen him playing anywhere else. Again, not that I recall, because again, we go through so much that happens in a month, guys. Sometimes I can forget. But I'd say that I'll give props to Hutch. I mean, yeah, I know 3 goals obviously may get people talking, but it was still a decent performance at the end of the day. He still made the saves that he needed to make. Wasn't too worried, but yeah, I mean, obviously you could use Campbell for sure.
How weird is that? They just showed the clip of the guys watching the last few plays on an iPad on the bench. You don't find that a little weird?
I don't.
I mean, that's
technology's great.
Do NFL players do that? Do MLB? You're not allowed to have technology.
MLB, no. I know with NFL, yeah, you have the Microsoft tablets. There was a whole meme that Bill Belichick or Aaron Rodgers destroyed the tablets. Yeah,
yes.
Like I swear, every quarterback and every offensive coordinator will sit down, pull off the Microsoft promoted tablet, and just swipe away.
But I feel like it's a little different because they're on the sidelines; they're nowhere near the play. Here, you're right in the sidelines of play. Like you got to be keeping your eye up on stuff.
Well, I feel like at the same time, I kind of miss myself again, dumb, which is I feel like it's gonna be was always the theme of me when I'm here with you guys. I mean, I feel like you also I know you have to look around at the same times, but you also got to see where the puck is. You also got to see the situation in front of you. So obviously there could be some blind spots. So it doesn't help. It does help if you had a tablet and sees what you missed from behind you, from your left or from your right, because you're focused on the play down or the play ahead. So I kind of get that. It makes sense. I'm a fan of that. I know personally for me, I would appreciate that if I was able to see, what I missed on the play or what I missed in my surroundings. Because again, hockey is one of those just quick, fast-paced sports. As for MLB, I mean, it's a slow sport. That'd be kind of hard to what would you need the technology for in baseball, right? Compared to hockey, compared to football, not much.
I mean, it's the thing is baseball players are just watching from the dugout, during.
Right. And they can relay the message at the end of the day, right? It's not like it's a bad thing, right? Unless you want the whole Roger Center man in the white shirt in center field.
Yeah, let's bring that up again.
Right? So it kind of makes sense. Because I know I think it does make sense for baseball to not because of the sign stealing and all that. Which I think at the end of the day, in my opinion, it's just protect your signs better.
Yay!
Anyways,
penalty.
But that's besides the point. This is hockey, folks. This is
okay. I've had some issues with some of these penalties being called, The one that they just called right now is Zach Bogosian. Yeesh. Come
Yeesh.
on. Like, I feel like if you're gonna give the guy a hooking penalty, let it be worth it.
2-minute penalty for slashing. Wow. Well, that'll be fun. That'll be fun. Well, now's a good time to check out.
Wait, Jose, this John Hubert T-shirt that you're talking about, you can buy it.
Really?
Oh,
Where do you see that?
oh, damn! They're sold out in my size, and they're sold out in your size.
Where do you see this?
IslandGentleman.com.
Where is this link? Send me a link.
Okay, I will send it in our chat over here since we're all. Actually, why don't I post it in the post a comment?
Can you link to that? I think you can. Oh yeah, the violentgentleman.com John Huber Forever T-shirt. That's such a great shirt. Yeah, okay, all right, there it is. So yeah, so if you want to look at the shirt, you can click the link. Obviously, I'll pull it up here.
Oh, there you go. Thank you.
I'll pull it up here, like obviously in the main. Yeah, they're sold out already. $26.
That's actually not. You know what? Like $26 for some nights. That is not a bad price.
That's not bad at all. Just after Christmas,
Yeah.
like I said, just after Christmas, we lost. It looks like John Huber was affiliated with them. Yeah, it looks definitely Violent Gentleman.
Yeah, I would have bought one. That's a
Father, athlete, and hockey fanatic. The wrestling world was kind enough to bring him to our doorstep. We were proud every time we were proud every time we saw him wear the VGHC hat. When bad things happen in our world, we try to be the helpers. So to present to you the Forever T-shirt, as always, with our charity efforts, 100% of the proceeds will be going directly to John's family, which is again such a nice thought here.
We might even need to call this company and see if we can get more of these shirts.
So if you're an extra small, do it.
You know what?
I'm not an extra small. Dave is not an extra small.
Nope.
So
nope.
I would have bought one immediately. That's really great. There's another big stop there.
That's
really great. That is really good.
Freddie.
Let's bring it back to the track here.
Freddie is in the zone right now, people. Like, how many of the? Okay, I will eventually have to pull up some stuff myself for this broadcast. Maybe I'll send it to Jose, and he can put it up on the screen. But if you're a Leafs fan right now watching this game, this is not a good start for them.
No,
because I'm gonna send Jose.
Fire away! I'm here. It's what I'm for. This is why, folks. If you are ever looking for, if you ever need to set up like a home office or a desk space, a computer space, 2 screens, 2 monitors. Trust me, it's worth it.
I will say Jose's setup, what beats his to mine is he has a TV in his room. I unfortunately do not have a TV in my room.
No, you don't, David. It's kind of
not in this room. In my I have a TV here. I don't have a TV over there. I have 2 screens. I did follow that.
To be fair, you do technically have you use TVs as your computer monitors. It's kind of funny to see 2 big, like 22, 27-inch TVs on your desk.
Those are monitors.
Those are considered computer monitors. They look like
computer monitors.
They look like TV screens to me, Sunshine. So
one of them was from our good friend Austin, who gave me he gave me one of those for because he wanted to upgrade and he gave me those.
Yes, props to Almighty Austin.
All right.
It's still 0-0. Leafs killed the power play.
But Freddie killed that.
Yes, but they're still finding their chances. Like you can see here, Armia just almost gets that. Almost got that by Freddie, but no. For Montreal, this is the start that you want. For Habs fans, this is what you want to see. Leafs fans going, oh my goodness, what are the Leafs doing? It's great. So it's a beautiful contrast here. What do I have here? Let me.
Jose will bring that up in a second. But Jeff Petrie just went to the locker room for Montreal. That is not a good look right now.
No, it's never a good look.
So what Jose is bringing up right now, this is in analytics terms is called a heat map. What this does is it allows you to see where now these are all these little dots here. This is where the shots are coming from in the game. All right. So for the Leafs are blue. Like where the Leafs. I'm just pointing out because some people might think that this is the Leafs where the Leafs logo is. That's the Leafs head. No, that is where the Leafs are taking their shots. Where the Habs logo is, that's where they're taking their shots.
The Habs are finding their biggest opportunities in the slot, and you can see the Leafs barely using the slot there. I mean, obviously the face-off has become clutch for them, so they can get it to the slot because obviously winning your face-offs to get into that position, that's pretty big. But yeah, for the Leafs, it's a dead zone. What was that? Like I guess like one shot in the slot, maybe a couple just in front of the net.
Yeah.
But I think not that the Leafs are having.
You're not beating Carey Price from some of those spots you're shooting.
Yeah, you're not beating him from the face-off circles, from his left or his right. I mean, it's like this is what you like. What Montreal has here. This is what you want to see to open the game. And again, like this right here is what sells me and what's been great for Le Canadiens. But yeah, this is not good. I mean, obviously, you can tell that here by the blue line. You're saying, oh, you know what? Let's just hope for the best. Okay. No, it didn't work. But yeah, that's thank you for sending that, David. Let me bring you back to the tracker.
Yeah, we've this is a little chippy. I was saying this, and somebody was saying it to me too. Like, sure, the Habs are going to hit and all. Leafs have to hit back a little bit too. They get a little too complacent and not being able to phone the
well, according to the live tracker here, but we know that the live tracker still takes a while for us to update. The shots are 12-2.
Oh,
yeah, the hits. You do not. No, that's not. Oh boy, what the heck happened there? Oh boy. Welcome to the world of David Reacts Late, folks. I'm Jose alongside David Morris-Sudi.
This is the part that's funny because every other only person who goes above me is before me is Jose. Every other person is either on time with me or I'm ahead. So
hold that thought, because we got a delay penalty here with a minute to go in the period, which means that they're going to carry this to the second. Nope, nothing. All right, there's a whistle.
This has been the Leafs' best shift of the period so far.
That's what they need. That's what they need. But yes, they're going to carry the 55.
Soup.
They're going to carry a minute 5 into the a minute 5 into the to the second period.
Good play by Engvall. Oh,
that Freddie. Sorry, not Freddie. Price. That was clutch there.
My!
You just can't.
That is strength because he held that arm steady. If you see, oh my god, damn. Well, I mean, look, I don't mind with the hooking penalties. If you're gonna call them both ways, and I feel like that's what the refs are doing right now. Like they're not gonna favor one side over the other, but man, and McCabe scored in the last game. And, he's a guy that's kind of been a little bit to start the season. So, he's just got to keep at it.
Yeah.
He's putting himself in a good position. Like, he's doing the right things. He's in the right places. The puck will find him. All right.
Like I said, the Leafs are going to have a minute 5 going into to open the second period. Mm-hmm. Probably, which is great, which is fun.
Sometimes it for some teams it works. Oh, we got a 2-man.
I was just about to say, is that not a delay of game?
A delay of game.
Oh, I shouldn't laugh. We're trying to be unbiased, folks. We're trying to be very unbiased in our profession.
No, we're not going to be unbiased.
Oh, we're not going to be unbiased. Okay. Woo!
We don't have to worry about that until Berkshire comes. That is as clear of a delay of game as you're going to get.
All right, so we're going to get more time on the power play to open up the second. Look at that, David. 2-man advantage. I like it. Big fan.
You just got, what? They're going to load it up. I think they're going to go for, let's see here. I think I see Nylander's there somewhere. And Nylander, Kerfoot,
Yeah.
Tavares, Bull, Muzzin. What?
It
Oh,
won't matter.
they're going with.
Will do it.
Okay, maybe that wasn't it. I don't know what they were saying about the players that were on the ice. That was kind of wrong. I was like, what are they putting those players' names for? Like, it doesn't look like that's the right lineup. Other
Well,
one, first
that
period
was,
is over.
yeah. That was. By the way, I know. I know earlier, Dave, you were talking about the Canadiens on the power play. They're only 20% on the power play, 80% in the kill, and then the Leafs 34.6 on the power play, 80 on the kill as the first period comes to a close. Normally, this is where we would declare a sponsor, but we don't have sponsors. So we're just going to say that this is just David and I hanging out.
If you're somebody who is looking to get a little bit of a spotlight, hi, we can give you that opportunity. But okay, let's talk a little bit about that period. I didn't like the way it started for the Leafs.
It was very very sloppy. Not what you expect.
They just felt like, okay, take your shots.
Yeah, I think the one takeaway, well, at least one of the takeaways from the first period is aggressiveness. 15-2 hits, 15-2 on the hits for Montreal. The Leafs, sloppy all around, but you know what? Sometimes it's just that toughness. It's just that aggressive touch that you want to present to get a team going. And I mean, obviously, it's been said before, but this is obviously where you miss guys like Simmons, who can present that aggressiveness. But you focus on your shots, focus on the pass. It's sloppy play along, but this is a contributing factor. Obviously, 2 hits is a little inexcusable. I mean, if Montreal had 2 to 5 hits, okay, fine. Hey, whatever. It's a very calm period. 15, 1-5, not 50. 15, 1-5 for Montreal. That is what you want to see in the first period. But obviously, the Montreal got very sloppy at the end. But I think that's I think a big takeaway. Aggressiveness. The Leafs really need to be more aggressive coming out of the gate into the second period, especially now that you're down 2 man. Now that you're down, you're down. You have a 2-man advantage. Take advantage of it. Get in there. Get aggressive. And I feel like that's the only way for them to really.
You're only going to get chances on this team if they're not giving things up easily. You got to work for it. I mean, they did at the end of that period. The penalty that they drew, the 2 penalties, pressure. You put pressure on their defense, they're going to make mistakes. It's simple as that. The physicality, I think you're right on that. Having Wayne Simmons out, that's one guy, but he's a guy that gets the other guys playing a little bit looser, because and somebody said, oh, why didn't they put in Scott? Somebody said, why didn't they put on Scott Sabrin? Here's the thing: a guy like Scott Sabrin is playing 5 minutes, 7 minutes if you're lucky. Is it worth it? I don't think so, because the thing is, Montreal's got guys that they're going to play 12, 13, 14, 15 minutes that can do even more than just hit. But hitting is part of their game. So, yeah, the Leafs, that's something I'm a little concerned about when it comes to and we've seen it, with the last game against Montreal. They wore them down physically, and they had nothing at the end. I'm concerned when we get later in the game that this is going to be tougher for the Leafs to continue like this, because, again, you're going to get worn down. They're talking about Josh Anderson right now on the broadcast.
And who you said that Josh Anderson, it feels like Josh Anderson really excels when he sees Toronto.
He's a real pain in the ass, I tell you. Like, he's a poor for Montreal. He's a poor man's Tom Wilson. Tom Wilson is a more effective player, in my opinion. But I mean, look, I said I would take Josh Anderson on my team. Unfortunately, though, oh my god, that chance they just showed on TV where he was the guy waited to
He was
set
at
him.
the doorstep. He was at the. I mean, again, like I feel like Toronto should be counting their lucky stars right now that they're not down 1-0 because they 1,000% should be.
One,
But
two, at least 3-0. I think based on what I'm seeing.
all right, okay. Just before you go on, just before we go on, obviously, we share this on our platforms. Friends and family, will hop on by. That doesn't mean your family members cheer for the opposite team and hope for the best, Nick. But you do use sunshine. You do. Back to the conversation. Back to the conversation about Anderson.
Oh, hold on. We got to give him his look. Let's go Montreal. I don't mind when family members cheer for opposing teams. The conflict is fun. I'm sure you and Nick have had your fair share of fun times watching games together.
We barely watch sports, actually.
It's funny because it reminds me of there's like I have had times where there's a colleague of mine at work who's an Eagles fan. I'm a Cowboys fan. Ooh, hold on. Jose, come shovel my yard. Ooh, do you want to get into that story? And are the Bruins a better choice? No, but man, are the Bruins a better choice?
Really?
If you're a Habs and Leafs fan, I don't think so.
No, they're not even close. I think that's the one time where Habs and Leafs fans come together to say, "Screw you, Boston."
Yeah, we've had Boston lately. There's a couple things I do want to talk about this and this intermission. Let's talk about Jose reaching a new milestone.
Yeah, because I know there's a couple other topics that I know we want to cover here, but yeah, my cousin Nick brought this up, and yes, after we explain the story, I think the next thing we need to talk about is Lake Tahoe, but we'll get to that soon. Yeah, so I guess something about myself is I've lived in an apartment building my whole life. I am 27 years old, and I have never lived in a house. I've been to houses. I'm not saying that I've stayed in my apartment my whole life, but I lived in an apartment my whole life, and so which meant that when it came around to wintertime, life was easy, as in you don't have to worry about the winter maintenance. The car's parked inside a parking garage. We don't have to wipe off the snow before we leave. We don't have to worry about the path. We don't have to worry about salting or shoveling the path. So in the 27 years that I've been living on this earth, I have never shoveled snow. I have a lot of friends have asked me how. Even one of our old classmates, good old Papa Omino, from our sports journalism class, thought that I was just being rude to my family and avoiding it the whole time. No, that's not the case. I live, if I had to be specific, I live 9 stories up, in an apartment building. And obviously, we have, what I'm looking out my window is the sky. I am not looking out at, I am looking out at path, but it's uneven below. But anyways, I'm drifting off here. Yes, I've never shoveled snow in my life. So I knew, I've told David many months ago, I'm like, if we get a big snowfall, if there's any snowfall whatsoever, please let me know and I will come shovel your driveway. We had 2 big snowfalls. The first one was on Tuesday. It was extremely cold, but then we had one Friday night. And so I'm
Thursday
night. Yes, Thursday night. Friday morning, I'm slowly waking up. I'm barely awake, and I get a call from this guy. He says, "Hey, Jose, what are you doing?" I'm literally just waking up, and he's like, "You want to come shovel?" I never woke up so fast in my life. I never got more excited to get out of bed. And that's saying a lot.
I have a total different reaction when I see snow on the ground, but
so I bundled up. I got a new jacket as well, so I got to wear that.
You got a new jacket just to shovel snow, people.
And David picked me up. I drove over to his lovely place with his lovely family. He gave me his biggest shovel, a strong, enduring shovel from Costco, because David is obsessed with Costco. And boom!
Good stuff.
I'm not saying they don't. I'm just saying, David. Not
you have a membership too,
I have a membership, but I'm just saying. All I'm saying is, anytime I say I need to get something, Costco's not always the first option. But anyways, he gave me the shovel and he was teaching me how to shovel snow. and where to put the snow, what techniques, and I was doing that for a couple hours. I was dead. I didn't wake up in too much pain, but yes, I can finally cross off my list in 27 years of living that I have finally shoveled snow. And I think I joked around with a friend of mine, and I said that if I ever room with somebody, and if it's in a house, they will get the rest. I will go out and I will shovel the snow uh, to go work out all the upper body, full body workouts that I missed in my life. So that is the shoveling snow story. And it wasn't bad. I mean, like, your driveway was filled up with snow. Don't get me wrong; it was somewhat full, but David helped me out. It wasn't just a one man job, even though I thought it was going to be a one man job. I was ready for a one man job, but David helped out. Everybody roasted me on social media, saying I had bad form, or hey, come shovel my driveway, I'll pick you up. So that is the snow shoveling story. What a Friday! What a Friday!
Say two things. One, the fact that Jose was working on Tuesday really annoyed me because that was the harder. I was out for a lot longer. Luckily, I have a snowboard, but having two people would have made my life a lot easier.
Oh, I'm sure.
We got some now. Though any of you who saw Jose's video on his Instagram and on his Facebook knows he's got a little bit of work to do on his form. He's got a little work to do. We're gonna get him there. It was his first time. He's also very fortunate that, yes, it wasn't too bad of a snowfall. But the thing about my driveway that makes it tougher is the interlocking, because the snow really packs in on the bricks, and it does not make things easier on anyone that's trying to shovel snow. So we are hoping to um, get that fixed up. A couple of things that have happened today that I and Jose actually brought one of them out to our Facebook group before I got the chance to. The NHL decided to do something a little new this year.
Oh yeah.
One of those things was doing out. I mean, they've done outdoor games. We've
Of course.
God knows how many they've done. They decided we're not able to do fans. Let's go somewhere different. So they decided let's go to Lake Tahoe.
And now that's, I mean, let's face it, that's the idea was incredible. The backdrop, the photos from today have been
Phenomenal. I was
God.
drooling. I'm like, I want to be there.
They
How
have,
can
they have
I get
been it's been spectacular. I mean, it's just whew. They really I really gotta give props to the NHL. I really gotta give props to the NHL for for the setup and everything. It's just it's just so spectacular. I'll pull up a photo if you haven't seen it.
But the issue here is that Lake Tahoe is not in a cold climate.
No, it's between Nevada and California, like in like the centerpiece. Like I say, if you want to be specific between cities, between Sacramento and Carson City, as I just looked up right now, hilariously enough. But go on.
And the problem here is that the sun, while it might not be as hot and humid, the sun picks up on white surfaces. This is why when the sun is out, the snow gets it melt. Not only does it melt, if it's like heavy snow or ice, it'll take a little time, but it really gets slushy. So the problem here is that with the NHL is that it was so sunny that the sun was beating down on the ice to the point where, like, I saw a player take his stick and scrape off a chunk of ice. That is not safe. And I saw clips where players were tripping. Like, that's how you get a torn ACL. That's where you can break an ankle. That's where you can, you're skating full speed. You catch a bad part of the ice, and you're going down.
Yeah.
So now, people were, understandably very critical of the NHL for that, for the way the conditions were. And I said, okay, yes, you can blame the NHL for it's sunny out. We should have had a contingency plan. Look at this. Absolutely gorgeous. But you also see clear skies. Usually when they do these, it's not clear skies. It is
the only time I think I've seen a clear sky And again, like I mean, like I don't watch. I obviously don't watch every NHL game. And actually, I think you were there, Dave. The Centennial Classic. At least you can't get fined for.
The refs too, Nico. I will say, Nick, that is so true. That is so true.
Like I mean, like I think the only time I've seen like a sunny outdoor game, and again, like I say this because I don't watch every NHL game, or there's also, I mean, like I also can't remember them all. I think it was the Centennial Classic at BMO Field here in Toronto. I think you were there, Dave, but I feel like I remember that was sunny conditions.
No, that was cold.
Obviously it was cold, but I'm saying that
was
it was sunny.
it was
Was it not
sunny.
sunny
The
that
thing
day?
was, it was a late start. So by the time the game things got really going, it was late at night. This is the issue though. Like you can if you're gonna do an outdoor game, I think the nighttime is better because the thing is, even if it's not hot, if the sun is going off the ice, it's bright. They were mentioning that I think when they had one in Winnipeg, that was an issue. Like they had to delay the game because of the sun.
Oh my
Because
goodness,
players, it's blinding. You can't see.
dude!
You can't.
I went out for a walk to get breakfast at A&W, and as I was walking, I didn't put on my sunglasses, and oh my goodness, I felt like I was getting blinded by the sun. Oh, the snow was so bad, and by the time I got inside, and I say this not in a hallucinating way, but all I saw was green because of how bad the reflection was. My eyes were trying to reset, like adjust back to the color temperature, if that makes sense, of like inside my building and back to my apartment. It's so like, oh my goodness, it's blinding. So I can imagine NHL players having to skate on that for 60 minutes, in the sense this thing is freaking blinding. I mean, obviously you can't change the color. I mean, maybe you could have painted the ice itself, since you can paint the lines on it and then make the puck like a different color.
They're
For
not going to do that.
Yeah, it's a waste of time, and it's a waste of money. But yeah, I think as well, like the paint as well was just like getting like was also another factor. So why everything was just slimming down. Of course, they postponed this game until midnight.
Our time, 9 p.m.
Midnight Eastern time, which is hilarious. I'm but I mean, like, yeah, for them being over there, it's gonna be 7 o'clock. Sorry, no, you're right. 9 o'clock. Sorry, I can't do my math. My time.
You can't do your time change is not your friend right now.
His math was never my friend, but go on.
Yeah, so I get that. I probably would have said, you know what, this is an event where you can play it at night because you got the time change on your side actually, because it wouldn't be too late over there for the players.
No,
Over here you could start it at 8 o'clock. That would have been fine. But yeah, they definitely needed to make the change. They've already changed the other game that's being played there tomorrow. That's going to be later in the day as well. So
yeah,
the NHL is at least making that concession in that they've already changed the start time of the other game. And maybe they've realized, we got to keep the ice. They got to do something different to keep the ice in better shape.
yeah. I mean, like, I think at the end of the day, like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I do think that the idea was there. It was a fantastic idea. Again, the scenery, the mountains look chef's kiss, absolutely stunning. I mean, like I think that people a lot of people are saying this is what we've all wanted. This is like the minor league. Like we're back to playing minor league hockey, back to the good old days as kids, and I get it. But yeah, I mean, I just think that just at the end of the day, it's just like it's the weather's fault, right? I mean, what can you do? It's just I guess they got lucky and unlucky that it was a nice, bright, sunny day, clear skies, right? I mean, that's what you want to see, right? For the scenery and everything. That's like, it's perfect, but it is what it is. Second beer is in the way.
I don't know if you just saw Kyle Bukauskas, anybody who's watching the game right now, just by himself, 2 monitors, sitting down. It's just so weird to see like that's what things have changed for like reporters and stuff too, and how they're covering the game. They at least decided to start the second power play. Oh, actually, they just loaded up. They put Tavares and Matthews on that unit with Nylander, Marner, Matthews. Have not seen that unit, I think, at all this season. I think they're just trying, definitely trying to get that going a little bit. The power play has been pretty good, but I also think it's taken a bit of especially with we got the 2-man advantage to start the period. you want to try to get one early.
The Leafs. I mean, Dallas aside, the Leafs are still the best power play team in the NHL.
Yeah, yeah, they are. The issue is that they've also played Ottawa and Vancouver, who are absolutely dreadful. Oh, you
Right
gotta
on
get
cue.
that. There you go. There you go.
There
Woo.
you go. Right on cue.
Okay, we're gonna talk about this. I actually have to send him a message just to get him the touchdown. Trade Willie. Oh, Nick is on here. My good friend Nick Massa. Hi, Nick. We're gonna actually get in touch with Andrew about a couple of these topics. One of them being Austin Matthews and how ridiculous he has been this season. Um, yeah, Austin Matthews just scored. He is absolutely electric right now. Um, he's at pretty much at a point where I think he can get 20 goals this season before he reaches 20 games, which which would be unheard of.
Yeah.
Oh, you lost your signal, Nick. Okay, so maybe Jose, we can get that live tracker back up.
Oh my goodness, sorry. I've had to hear the whole time. My bad.
There we go. We will have 2 Nicks, 1 cup.
Jesus, Nick.
Jesus. All right, that's an interesting comment. But here, yeah. So it is. Yes, Austin Matthews. I think he is well deserving of being in the Hart Trophy. Oh my goodness, that that happened pretty quick. Wow. What Claude Julien clearly not happy about something right there.
Nope.
What happened? So Petrie.
I think it was just a quick.
Oh my goodness.
The great pass by Thornton and Engvall. Just that is Engvall, right? Yeah. They just in.
That was Travis Boyd.
Sorry, Boyd. Sorry, jeez, I messed that up there.
You know what's funny? I think it was last game or 2 games ago. They put Travis Boyd on the power play. Travis Boyd, when he was signed by the Leafs, it was like an afterthought to me. No offense to Travis Boyd. He was not a guy that I had on my radar that the Leafs should try to sign him. I didn't even know he was an AHL player before this year. And now he's like on the power play with Joe Thornton and Austin Matthews. And wow, has this game changed. This game has definitely changed. What? Look, and it's 2 penalties. Like, it was a 2-man advantage, and it was the penalty that really just put Montreal just. This is not a hole you expect to be in 2 minutes into the game, and now, wow, the turnovers right now for Montreal are just absolutely brutal.
Yeah, three turnovers. Sorry, 11 turnovers for Montreal. Sorry, 11 giveaways. That's not what we want to see. 11-3 in the giveaways here.
It's absolutely just like this team. All it takes 1 or 2 mistakes, and they will pounce. I mean, the first goal, that was just perfect power play setup. Austin Matthews, that one time has just become a different part of his game. Like, he didn't have that a few years ago. And then the second goal, that's just Montreal, just a bad bounce, really, if you think about it. It just didn't go their way. But I actually just got a message from Jake. Nick, oh yeah.
Yeah, I just want to address Nick. Yes, Nick, these are their reverse retro jerseys. The NHL new promotion this year for every team getting an alternate jerseys. The Leafs is absolute trash. But I was saying at the top of the broadcast that I really like these jerseys. I'm such a big fan of these Montreal jerseys. I'm not saying I'm going to become a Montreal fan, but I just think that they're really, really, really nice. So that's just.
So this comment here by my boy Nick. Morph Boyd's attitude and Willie's skill. You know what? Yeah, I think this is the thing about William Nylander, and I am going to ask Andrew Berkshire a little bit about this. I'm a Nylander fan. I think the skill is undeniable with this guy, but I mean, he almost just set up TJ Brody right there. The problem here is, oh boy,
That was ugly. And Montreal's right back in this.
Toronto just got caught being a
They
little
got,
bit too
yeah,
free
that
right
was.
there.
Yeesh. What happened there?
Let's break down this goal here. I mean, I'm just waiting for the replay. So Nylander makes. I mean, that's a great pass.
Yeah.
Right there.
Just all alone. All
Oh,
alone.
Boyd. Who's the? Yeah. See, the thing is, whoever is supposed to be covering for TJ Brody didn't do his job right there.
Nope.
That's what happened there. You know, Riley was covering because Tatar got beat Tavares. Riley tried to go and defend that, but then you left Kotkaniemi open because the guy who's supposed to, you know, keep an eye on Kiesbury Kotkaniemi didn't do his job there. So Leafs have to be very careful here. You know, you scored 2 goals. You caught Montreal with the second goal. You don't want to give Montreal any hope of life there. You don't want to do something like that.
And then you were saying that this is quickly a 2-2 game.
This is you live and die when you do those plays. Look at Sheldon Keefe's face right there. It says it all.
Goodness gracious. They just
where that play went
really
wrong right
melted.
there. Where that play went wrong right there, I will tell you right there. Dancing along the point and then Hall diving right there.
Oh,
yes,
the
Nick,
dive was a bad
bad.
idea, and just
the dive. I understand the dive, but that play at the point. It's two plays right there at the point that you allow Montreal just to do the fast break. Now, Nick, I will just say, good on Montreal for capitalizing on 2 dumb mistakes by the Leafs. But I will say this about Montreal. That's how they beat you. You make a mistake. Oh, Marner. Never mind. Montreal will burn you with rush chances. Counter rush. They're a very good counter attack team. Problem here is that sometimes they're not. Yeah, the problem here is they're not usually a good cycle team, and I've talked to many people who have said that about them. So if you're the Leafs, that's what cost you the last few times you played Montreal. Turnovers and just breakdowns. That second goal was inexcusable.
Yeah, it just felt like it was.
You gave Montreal that goal. So this not a good few minutes right there for the Leafs. After you basically took the momentum of the game with the 2 quick goals. I would have liked a better save on. It's just that I hate those point to point. I hate those D-to-D passes when guys are not in position to receive them, and that's like Boyd got caught right there. And yeah, oh my God, Paul Byron, first goal in 18 games.
That was exceptionally close. This is entertaining.
Yeah, hey, I was expecting a back and forth game a little bit, but I think a little too much back and forth to what there you see. What a play by Hyman right there. That's the sort of things you need. The Leafs need press them. You gotta pressure them, just like Montreal did on the last 2 goals. You pressure them. So what happens right here?
I mean, I gotta say, like, I gotta give props to Montreal. I kind of you were saying, like, that counter rush, you're able to immediately, quickly get that counter attack going. And then look again, they almost just took the lead there, in that form. So it's I mean, like you said, it's working for them. So you gotta give props to them for nearly nearly taking the lead there.
Yeah, I'm just looking at another chat right now with some friends of mine. Are we surprised the Toronto sports team blew a lead? No, Nick, we are not surprised the Toronto sports team blew a lead. The Raptors blew a lead last night. They won. The Leafs blew a lead this week, and they lost. I'm not surprised. This is something you've come to expect. The funny thing is, I've watched so many CFL games. That's something I always expect. No lead is safe. That's usually
No.
the mantra of the CFL. Um, my goodness, that was that again. Just like it did with the Leafs, it can do for Montreal. And now, I think right now, if you're the head coach, you're just seeing who smells blood more. I think Montreal did after that second goal. But man, the Leafs also looked really slow on both of those goals in terms of guys being beat.
Oh, way too slow. Well, I just think that I just think that Montreal just got those lucky passes and just found like the holes, right? I mean, like again, like you saw like in that in that
The second goal was a good one because that's anticipating the play. The first goal,
you had
I
everybody
think,
shifted to the right side, right? And then he had Jesperi all alone, so
yeah,
it'll
that was just blown to assignments all left and right. And Riley should have done a better job getting back and seeing the guy trailing, especially when you have your partner's pinching. Well, man,
that'll work.
this is gonna be fun.
This is gonna be a lot of fun, yeah.
This is not the. I'm expecting this game to not like. This is gonna be a lot more goals than this.
Yes, and I mean, look where Marner was, and we said this in the first. We said this in the first period with the spray chart, the slot, and it just beat Price. That is exactly what we needed.
I will say this: if this was a year ago, Marner's passing that. Marner isn't shooting that. This is a part of his game I've loved this season. He's shooting it. He's taking those shots, and look how much. That's his 9th goal. If I'm not, I'm gonna just do some quick search here. I'm pretty sure Marner's pretty close to matching what he did last year in terms of goals. Marner had 16 goals in 59 games last year.
He already has 9 in.
He has 9 in. We are at the 19 game mark.
Yeah, what did I say earlier? This is game 19, right? Yeah, this is game 19. Yeah. So it's working, like you said.
Marner and Matthews are playing together like 100%. Like last year, it wasn't until Sheldon Keefe took over that Marner and Matthews started playing together. It was pretty much like November, early December that they started playing together full time. Here, okay. So this is if I'm Sheldon Keefe right now, I'm talking to my team about if you lose the puck, you have to be prepared for what comes after. Nick, they scored. Yeah, Nick, it's been a little crazy the last few minutes. It's been all over the place. I was just searching some Riley Reid videos. Riley Reid videos.
I don't think I want to know who that is.
Are we talking about? I don't. Who is that? This has got me a little curious, Nick.
Hold on. I'm looking. Hey, Nick. This is a family live stream.
Are we gonna have to put Nick in the penalty box like I did to Mark?
We can put you on a timeout, Nick. It's a family show. A family show.
I was gonna say we can put him in a timeout. We've done it. Were you there when I put Mark on a timeout?
Yes, I was the one that did it for you.
Yes. Better you than me.
We'll give you that first warning, Nick. We'll give you the first warning.
Just a FYI, we don't want to be flagged for inappropriate content.
Yes.
But okay, if that's for your own research purposes, I will. You do you. Just not in the comments. So, okay. Things look to have settled a little bit since the last few minutes where it's just been pandemonium. My goodness. So actually, I'm just gonna let. Didn't think we'd look it up. Well, considering I didn't had no idea what you're talking about, Nick.
Yeah,
Most like,
I think it's a good thing that we didn't know.
yeah.
Anyways, back to the game. Under 10 minutes ago in the second period. Riley, Marner, Matthews, Carey Price's glove. That was play-by-play by Jose, brought to you by nobody. Because again, we're not sponsored. So if you have something that you want us to promote for you,
Hey Nick, if you want something to promote, we'll forgive your past how do you say it again?
just stop.
Your
Just,
past your past mistakes, transgressions. Yeah, that's how you say it. Words are not my forte right now.
In a non-hockey related comment here, Tom and Jerry, if you're watching this on CBC Sportsnet, Tom and Jerry Forever. That should be an interesting movie. But back to hockey. Yeah, no, this has been absolutely wild. Oh, sorry. I put up a banner saying that that Marner went unassisted. No, he was assisted by Matthews there. So this is the second period has been a little wild.
Un petit peu, as the French would say, un petit peu.
Oui. You know what I realized? I'm also realizing I'm putting like the banners because we're the program that we use can let us do like banners or like graphics like these. Like we can just put that up, take it away. Then I also remember that we have a live tracker that shows all the stats like in the goals. So sometimes you try your best with a graphic like this, and then you realize it's not necessary, but it's the thought that counts for all you lovely people. All right, Nick, take care. Thank you for coming. Nick, Nick. Great kid. Definitely one of the more brighter cousins in the world. Zach Bogosian also assisted Marner on that play there. And speaking of which, they're pulling up a Marner replay from the game against Ottawa. That great goal that found the top shelf, just snuck by. And Marner,
that was a beautiful goal. It was a beautiful, beautiful goal for sure. Just sending messages. I'm going to try to recruit more people to come and join the live stream.
Well, there's a little bit of...
Andrew's asking if he should get his phone or laptop. I think laptop is better, right?
Preferably whatever works. I think at the end of the day, you can just send him the link, but whatever he feels more comfortable with. It's just for him. But yeah, technically laptop would be preferred in this case. I think, especially in case he gets any text messages or any other distraction on his phone. It may accidentally close him from the stream or turn his camera off. I don't know, but it's his call here.
But his phone would work.
Nah, nothing. Freddie with the stop.
Yeah, there's another guy more. He's really only when I think about the Montreal Canadiens lineup. They've got decent players, but the guy that really scares me right now is Toffoli, Anderson, and Gallagher. Those are that trio right there, guys. I'm a little concerned.
I was talking with my son. I have friends in Vancouver, great, lovely people over there in the beautiful West Coast, and one of my buddies is like, "Boy, it hurts to see Toffoli being great in Montreal, and unfortunately not
Oh yeah, good point.
Not being able to not being able to see that during this time in Vancouver. So all I did was just laugh. That's all I could do to my buddies over there out there in the West. But he's been spectacular. Oh boy, that's just not okay. All right. I am thankfully there, but that's again like examples like that is giveaways that you cannot allow to happen. No.
Yeah. This is where I like Zach Hyman because, ooh. What's going on here? Very interesting. A penalty away from the puck, as it looks like there.
Oh.
Maybe? No?
I think it's because of that that hit on Dermott.
Oof.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah, no kidding. I personally would not like to experience that. I don't know about you, Dave. Then again, I've actually never actually played hockey on ice ever.
So Andrew says you'll join us in about 5 minutes.
Fantastic.
That's gonna be great. I'm actually gonna just tweet that out because this is.
I will also retweet and share.
Well, we're in a commercial break right now, so this is the important.
This is the perfect time, yeah. I will need oh man, I'm just looking back at the YouTube comments and my cousin Nick just
we might have to hide some of those YouTube comments.
I can from my end because I'm surprised.
I was like, do I need to report them myself?
No. I think if we're gonna have this discussion. I think from your end because it is your YouTube channel. I think you can hide the comments. I believe.
Remove. Looks like I can.
There you go. Yeah.
Sorry, Nick. You've been censored.
Well, he's gone now. So, but thank you for joining. And once again, cousin Nick. Good old Nick. There's a glove on the. Oh, it's oh yeah, it was Hyman's glove. Like there's a glove on the ice.
It's like Hyman, what the heck happened there?
That's not good.
Jose, have you ever put on hockey equipment before? I've always wanted to ask.
No, I haven't either. I mean, we spoke earlier. We spoke earlier about the snow shoveling, out of body experience that I had yesterday, shoveling snow for the first time in my life. But hockey equipment, neither. When I was smaller, actually, I remember I begged my dad if he could sign me up for recreational hockey or something because I love the sport. I loved the sport at the time. I mean, not that I don't now, but I mean, like at the time, like I just really wanted to try it. And then I think as a kid, right? I think after my dad put me on a soccer team instead, and a ball came straight to my face in my first game, and I quit the team, especially because I was pissed that the ref didn't give the kid a red card. But that's besides the point. So no, since then I have always been a little terrified to join team sports. But that was when I was a kid. So now, like now, like at an older age, I want to try everything. So yes, I would love to try hockey equipment or like even like just play hockey on ice one day. My good old buddy Jonathan, who joined us a couple of streams ago, wanted to take me out to the ice when everything opens up if there's going to be an opportunity. So, but no, I have never put on hockey equipment in my life, and I would like that. I think that would be fun. Oh my goodness gracious! Holy crap, Freddie! Yeah, there you go. Whoo! Dang.
Oh my goodness. Freddie has made a lot of saves tonight, and none were any better than that.
Woo! Woo! Gotta fan yourself there a little bit. My.
Whew. Sheesh.
That is the first. I am introducing a new ticker called Bagod, Freddie. Bagod. This ticker will now be available anytime we get a crazy save from good old from said Freddie. At one point, do you try jumbo or Kerfoot with Tavares and Nylander? Dave?
Hey, a good old boy, Chris. At what point he tried jumbo or Kerfoot with Tavares and Nealer? I, you know what? Like, I always wondered, because Hyman and Matthews have worked good, you could essentially do that. You should consider it, just because you know Thornton has looked so good with Matthews and Marner, but I don't see why that wouldn't be the case with Tavares and Neal. And like those guys both need someone that can get them the puck. I don't think they're a duo that like Nylander is so good skating and creating chances, but he's not going to go and get the puck. And now Tavares doesn't really do that either, and that's why I thought having Hyman with them would make the most sense. But it just feels like when you see those two in a slump, like we saw in the last game, Keith put Marner with Tavares, and like that was clearly a sign of like Tavares is in a bit of a schneid. We need to get a guy that will kind of give him the boost, and they did that with Marner. I think you would get a similar effect if you put Thornton there. You know, I think Joe Thornton wouldn't care. I know he loves playing with Marner Matthews, but I don't think he'd find it any different. In terms of like his role would be similar. I think it'd be a little bit more rewarding. Jake, what is slower? Hey, Jake is here. What is slower, the NHL to get this outdoor game or Justin Hall in a foot race? Ha ha. Well, Justin Hall is definitely not known for his speed. So I go with Justin Hall based on what we saw there. But yes, that was the other thing about the goal, the Paul Byron goal. Paul Byron has got some wheels, I will say, but you definitely don't want to be. Is that Victor Mete in the box again? He's had a rough one with penalties tonight. But yeah, thanks, Jake, for the great comment. We always appreciate comments. Come and join us. Talk about this stuff on the live stream. Leafs are going back to the power play. This is if you're a Montreal Canadiens fan, you're not a fan of that. Considering the Leafs are 2-for-2 on the night. So
are they?
Yes, they are.
No, they're labeled. They've been tracked as 1 and 3.
1 and 3. They just put 2 and 2 on the screen.
Well, I don't. Well, that's what they got here on the tracker. I don't know, but I don't know what to tell you.
Well, the tracker does not seem to be correct.
I thought it was 2 for 2 as well. I got the box here. Yeah, they considered it 2 for 2, or you know what, Dave? You may want to consider it 3-4-3.
What did I say a few minutes ago? I said. Now
you say a lot.
I say a lot of things, and I'm going to give a minute just because Jake is on a bit of a delay, just in case he is still on with us. I said there's a good chance Austin Matthews gets to 20 goals before 20 games are played.
This is goal number 18.
He's not. I don't think he's going to get it tonight. I think he's going to get close.
I mean,
he's on Patrick watch right now, guys.
He's on. I mean, this is his 18th goal. What you're essentially saying is you want him to do. I believe the last time he scored 4 goals the night of his debut. Was that not the last time?
4. Yeah, he hadn't scored any more than that since the debut. Jose, I don't know if you heard the little beep.
I did.
Is here. Let's bring on our good boy, Andrew Berkshire. You want to bring him in?
Hello.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good. How about you?
I should give the intro right now. First off, Andrew, thank you so much for joining us right now. I know that it comes at a time where the game has been through a lot in this period.
And I'm behind, so I don't even know what the score is actually.
I don't want to tell you what the score is right now because I definitely don't want to spoil anything for you. There has been a lot going on in this game. couple of questions though. First off, I just want to thank you again for joining us, and I want to just give everybody a little background on Andrew. Andrew and I actually go back a little bit in terms of I used to edit a lot of his work for Sportsnet.ca when he was a contributor with us. Kind of one of my favorite things to edit because you knew they were coming when Andrew would ask for the pictures for the graphs he would do, and I'm like, oh, Berkshire is coming soon. We can get ready for it, and they're always great reads. I actually do miss them a lot. But I do know that you're contributing to the Montreal Gazette right now.
Correct. Yeah.
I know that the pandemic life has been a little tough for, I mean, all of us, especially for you guys out there in Quebec.
Yeah.
And the little ones probably got you pretty busy.
Yes, definitely.
But how have you been doing, Andrew?
I've been doing all right, trying to enjoy the time off with working less this year, but definitely open for more work, that's for sure.
Yes.
It's been a little bit of a different adjustment because the stuff with the Gazette right now is just like not a lot of writing. It's like every other week. So it's a really rough adjustment to go from writing 4 research columns per week to 1 every other week, which is like you just don't get into the flow at all. Like I'm used to just like banging out ideas all the time, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, I have something to do this week. I have to get on it. I have to figure out something to write about. So it's like I guess I should be more proactive and like keep like a notebook of like ideas to write down, but just hasn't been that way so far.
I've always been curious. I was curious I was meant to ask our columnist during the time because the funny thing was they hadn't really filed them. They didn't write many stories while there was no hockey between that period of like March to like the summertime. And like I remember Eric Francis has sent me something. He's like, "Oh, I guess the vacation's over for you guys." I was like, "Over for me? I was working the whole time. You're the one that's at the vacation, nothing to write about."
Yeah, no kidding.
How hard is it like to go all that time without writing, and then for some, you might have a period where you're not writing a lot, and then all of a sudden you got to come up with a bunch of ideas.
Well, it kind of depends because like I was doing the same thing for about 5 years between Sportsnet and other contracts that I had. Essentially 4 to 5 articles a week every week during the season. So like it's really in like the in a regular season, like the January, February, March time, that's the worst because you've kind of not necessarily settled into a pattern, but like you've gone through more of the exciting stories at that point. The hot players who might fall off or the players who are bound to break out, most of that stuff is kind of happening. It's just like the dog days of the regular season. So you end up writing a lot of the same kind of story using the same kind of data, and you're a little bit bored and then you get like reinvigorated for the playoffs. Whereas like in that situation, the beginning of the season is super exciting for me because I love writing preview content. Like, before the season starts, anything can happen, right? So it's just like, what could happen? Let's look at the tea leaves and try to figure something out. And also with sports that I used to do those big projects where I was ranking basically every player in the entire NHL. And those were super labor intensive. And I got so much information out of doing that like, obviously nobody can watch every game in the entire league. But when you literally break down information on every single player in the league and find out like what's their strengths, what's their weaknesses, you just get this huge influx of ability to write about them, right? Whereas in the regular season, oftentimes Sportsnet has a mandate to cover Canadian teams, right? So like, especially if there aren't any Canadian teams that are good, which has happened a couple times, it's basically just like Leafs over and over again. And you just get like super tired of being like, yeah, that Austin Matthews guy, he's like one of the best goal scorers of his generation. He's amazing. Mitch Marner, he's a great playmaker. William Nylander, underrated. Like you're kind of saying the same thing over and over again. Like every year, it's like, is Morgan Riley good or just good offensively? Well, it's the same thing every year.
I always wanted to ask you because you'd always write these stories about the Leafs. And some of the Twitter comments are like noted Leafs fan Andrew Berkshire with his normal Leafs love, and I'm just like, I don't even realize you're not from Toronto.
No, I'm from Alberta. Like born in Saskatchewan. I went to high school in Alberta. And then I moved out to Montreal when I was 18 with my then girlfriend, now wife. And yeah, I've got no connection to Toronto whatsoever. I do like covering the team because I think they're super exciting. But in terms of like actual Leafs fandom, zero. Used to be a Canadiens fan. That died. And honestly, I do miss it sometimes, like just the excitement of being a fan. But at the same time, there's just this. It's almost more fun because you control all 31 fan bases, soon to be 32 now, and not have anything that you can't say.
Yeah.
Right. So it's fun. I think the Leafs fan base is the most fun one to make fun of because more than most fan bases, they can take it. Because I think they're the only fan base that hates the Leafs more than everybody else.
Yeah, for sure. I actually, people would keep asking me because I have to have I see a lot of the comment sections for a lot of articles and comments on Twitter, and people say, "Oh, who's the worst one?" And people always assume it's Leafs. I actually think it's the Canucks fans. Sorry to any Canucks fans. I find Canucks fans can be pretty ruthless.
Canucks fans can be pretty ruthless. I mean, on their own team for sure.
For sure. Yeah, that's the worst part.
Yeah. Like, worst fan base to interact with. I mean, I'm kind of biased because I've been covering them for so long, but for me, it's Canadiens fans. Like, there was this. Yeah, Canadiens fans have always been kind of split, and it's like this group of, you're either someone who's like very skeptical of what they're doing, or you're full on bought in. If you criticize the team, you're not a real fan. And after the Subban trade, most of the skeptical people kind of, which was part of what I was part of pretty much, most of those people just stopped paying attention to the team or stopped being fans of the team in general. And so the fan base that's left is still kind of fractured, but like mostly the Pollyanna group. And I don't mean to say like everybody who's left is, but like at least on Twitter, right? On Twitter, it's like if you criticize the Montreal Canadiens, you get a flood of Canadiens fans who just like cannot take it.
Yeah.
And I find like Leafs fans, there are those in that fan base as well. And it's a massive fan base. So you will get some of that, but you'll also get a ton of people who are in on the joke. And I find a lot of the people who are in on the joke for Habs fans just either aren't online anymore or don't care about the team anymore, which is kind of sad.
What always makes me laugh about Leafs Nation is the Civil War. And it's always
Which
a player.
One?
Well, the most, let's go with the freshest one. And that's, I mean, the freshest one that's been around for the longest time, it's like the last few years, is William Nylander.
Right.
That continues to be the most perplexing one to me, in that I feel like there's just two extremes, and there's a lack of ability to see that both sides actually have some merit, but also like there's outrageous takes on both ends. I find when it comes to his play, I love the way he plays, and I know you do too. Like the style he plays, and the production he has. And then there's times where I can understand where some people they're not a fan of his game because he doesn't play like an Austin Matthews or he doesn't play like a Zach Hyman, but that's not who he is either.
Yeah.
What's kind of your thought on that?
I mean, I'm kind of with you on like every player has flaws, right? Like with William Nylander, and I got a lot of this last week because I kind of had a bit of a tweet thread on it, and a bunch of people thought I was talking about the Steve Simmons column on Nylander. I didn't even read it because I don't read Steve Simmons because I don't read bad journalism. But
he's like, not wrong there.
No one's going to argue that.
I mean, I wouldn't click on a Steve Simmons article post the hot dog story. Like this guy's already been proven to be willing to just make things up. So why give him the time of day? But I was just talking in general about like that style of not necessarily reporter, but pundit, right? Like Brian Burke, and not to say that any of these people are awful, but that style, the old guard of hockey media, right? And they don't like William Nylander. And there's a reason why. Part of it is that he doesn't talk, like he has a cold, not disposition, but cold relationship with the media. He just doesn't care about it. And to me, don't care because I'm not in that room. I'm an analyst, not a reporter.
Yeah.
So it's easier for me to ignore that. Whereas the guys who want to quote from William Nylander, it's harder to ignore. But in terms of his play in the defensive zone, absolutely, he does have some issues. He is too lackadaisical at times. He isn't as involved as you'd want him to be, but his overall defensive impact remains strong because he's incredibly good in the neutral zone. So, like, a lot of that stuff that happens in the neutral zone, he doesn't get credit for.
No.
But at the same time, you have to be able to recognize it, and you have to find this balance of he's good overall, but of course he's open to criticism because everybody's open to criticism. So, like, you can't throw out all of the criticism that these people are lobbing at him, but at the same time, any sane person who watches William Nylander day in, day out looks at the numbers that he's able to generate, looks at the fact that over the last 4 years, he's number one on the Maple Leafs in possession driving. You know, like, no Maple Leaf has a higher Corsi for percentage over the last 4 years than William Nylander, among forwards anyway. I don't think there's anybody on defense that's higher, but I've only checked personally on forwards. Mm-hmm. Like, he's obviously doing something right. He's obviously a positive impact player. Doesn't mean that he doesn't have faults, but, like, man, if you can't see the forest for the trees on this guy, he's a really important player for that team. Like, the idea that he is a guy that needs to be traded in order for them to have success or get to the next level is so crazy to me, because the gap between, you know, like, William Nylander and Mitch Marner, people think it's gargantuan, and I feel like a lot of people want to tear down Mitch Marner in order to build Nylander up, which is also wrong.
Yes.
But the gap is not as large as people think it is. Nylander puts up more points. Marner puts up more points, but Nylander is the better 5-on-5 player. So it's both are important. It's good to have both. Is there $5 million of cap hit in terms of value difference between them? I don't think so. And to me, the guy who's underpaid is William Nylander, and he's the one who gets all the grief, which is crazy to me.
That's the part that kills me. It's that the main reason why he's the target of most trade ideas is he has the cheaper contract.
Mm-hmm.
Well, shouldn't the cheaper contract be the more value contract? That's what I kept saying too.
Definitely. Well, and there's some people who say, like, because his contract is more valuable, you get more in a trade for him, which I also don't believe, because the value of William Nylander that people are talking about on the trade market is talking about, like, the way old hockey men value him. Guess who's in charge of other teams?
That's the other thing too.
You know, like, even with Marner making more and, like, his value on the ice being, you know, like, not as high per dollar or whatever as Nylander's is, on the trade market, Marner would get way more. Not that I'm saying they should trade Marner.
No. I mean, I just actually wanted to ask, at what point of the game are you at? Because I know you're catching it a little bit late.
The Canadiens' 4-3 goal just got called back.
Yeah.
That was
an obvious call. An obvious call.
I don't understand how, in a time of, like, they've reviewed it, and then the coach's challenge comes in. I'm like that seems just like,
yeah. Well, yeah, that was a mess. That was, like, a really weird situation. Yeah, like the good goal, and then it got called back. It's just, I mean, if I was Claude, I'd be just as confused too. But that is what it is,
I don't know where
guess.
they got the original good goal from. I really don't. There was no stick on puck from what I saw.
Yeah, it's just so strange.
I mean, I presume they only called it good because, I mean, you saw the angle from the top of the net that it just slid past Freddie. Like, as soon as Freddie sat up, it was already way beyond, like, the goal line, which I presume is why they called it good. And then the second review, which just that wasn't fun.
Jose, did you want to ask Andrew about Austin Matthews?
Yeah, no, I think that was one question that
never heard.
Yeah, no, go quiet, kid. I think from somewhere in the States, somewhere around there. I think, but no, I mean, it's a question it's starting to fill up. That's starting to fill up, like get into the minds of a lot of the Leafs fans. Obviously, maybe probably the Leafs fans, but, you know, obviously right now, so far in today's game, Austin Matthews with 2 goals. He already has 18 on the year, 18 goals in 19 games, which is, of course, is extremely impressive. So, of course, even though it's still somewhat of a shortened season, the question has come up: do you think Matthews can get to 50 with the rate that he's going in right now, which is essentially a goal a game at this rate, unofficial, if you want to say it? I know we have to get to the nitty-gritty on the sense, but do you think that Austin Matthews, at the rate that he's scoring goals, can he get to 50 in the shortened season?
Absolutely, I think he can. I don't think it's necessarily likely, but I don't know if I've ever seen such a like his release is just so ridiculous. It's like
Oh yeah.
stupid. It's it's not just how quick it is. It's like you talk to professional goalies, and it doesn't matter where the puck is on his blade. You can't tell where it's going to come off his blade. He just has this really quirky, weird release that is so deceptive. Like, obviously, you can't take anything away from Ovechkin being like the greatest goal scorer at the very least of his generation, but probably of all time. But Matthews just has this innate ability that, like, Ovechkin kind of powers things through with volume, and Matthews has some volume, but obviously not Ovechkin level. But in terms of just raw, who's going to put a goal in the net when they have a shooting opportunity? There's no one I'd rather have the puck on their stick than Austin Matthews. Like, he is just obscene. I've never seen him. One player makes so many goaltenders look like they don't know what they're doing. Like it's just something that shouldn't be a goal. It shouldn't even be a scoring chance, and he rips it so quick, so perfectly that goalies just cannot stop it, and it's incredible to me. I think that if anyone has a chance of putting up 50 goals in this shortened season, it is him, and I'd love to see him get 50 and 50, just because, like, man, it's been forever since we've seen that, and I feel like we've had a few close calls where, like, it looks like a player might be able to do it, and then it falls apart. I'd love to see Matthews do that, just because it's also, how often do you see a player run away with a league scoring title like that? Like, it's just, it doesn't really happen anymore. There's so much parity in the league. I'd love to see him just, like, break records.
Yeah, and he's always been a guy that's been so productive at 5-on-5. I always said that what's going to unlock him is the power play production. He was never first power play when he first started in the NHL, which was crazy to me. Like James Van Riemsdyk, Tyler Bozak, Mitch Marner, like those guys were getting top power play minutes over Matthews, and I thought that was ludicrous at the time. And
It was.
now you're seeing, and like now you're seeing it's like that one timer. It wasn't even a thing because he was always on the left side, and he always had the pad and wrist shot. And now he's got the one timer, and it's like his ability to adapt his skill. That's, I think, what makes it more likely that you can see him possibly reaching that milestone for sure.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I remember, like, the argument that some people had that he wasn't going to fit on there was like, oh, Mitch Marner is a playmaker and Matthews is on the wrong side because Marner likes to play on the half wall. And it's like, it doesn't matter. Like, even when they had Matthews in a position where, like, he couldn't necessarily take a one-timer, there are so many goals that I've watched him score where most players, they need to get the puck off right away, and he gets it to his, like, across his body. The pass comes across his body. He's taking it. He has a bad angle to shoot, and he just has this, like, double clutch. Goalie gets set. Still too late. Like, he just finds a hole. And, like, you just can't deny a player of that skill. That's one of those little things where, sure, he was a rookie, but you understand why people were always getting on Babcock and why they didn't trust the decisions being made by that coaching staff. Because you can't have a guy who's a 50-goal scorer, essentially, not being on the first wave of the power play. Like, you really not believe he's not talented enough to make it work if you just sit him in a slot and tell him to figure out, like, where exactly he's going to shoot or how he's going to get the puck? Like, just put him there. Take the lumps if it takes a minute to figure it out. Like, it's maddening. I mean, obviously it's over now, but it was really frustrating to watch.
I'm bringing on another friend of mine, Jake Middleton, joining us here for the live stream. Jake, welcome to the party. Joining us with Andrew Berkshire. I know you know Andrew, Jake.
Yes.
Sure, through our dealings, just on Twitter. Mm-hmm. We were just talking about Austin Matthews and how just dominant he's been this season.
This is where I'm going to step off for just a quick second. I'll be right back. So yeah, carry on. I'll be right back.
This is where the intermission really does come in handy for the breaks when you're on a full watch live stream. And I actually wanted to. I actually, apparently they're talking about the US TV deal, which I found pretty interesting. They're saying that ESPN is being considered for the
Yes.
being
Yeah, Elliot just I think it was Elliot or Chris Johnson. They said that it's going to be a part of the TV deal, which is just a complete no-brainer. Um, yeah, that would be great news for the league. I'm sure it would help them, especially gain a lot of viewership for sure.
Now, Andrew, there was another question about Joe Thornton I had. A friend of mine actually asked on the stream earlier, would it be worth it for the Leafs to maybe move Joe Thornton, even though he's been so good on that top line, to get that second line of Tavares and Nylander going? Would that make sense for the Leafs to do, or do you feel like Hyman being there would be good enough for that unit?
I'm not sure Thornton brings what that line needs necessarily. I mean, playmaking is always good, but I'm not sure. Like, I guess they're not like a high flying speed line, which naturally makes people think that Thornton might be the guy to stick with them because Tavares is not the most amazing skater either. But I kind of like the energy that Hyman brings and the ability to forecheck because Tavares kind of thrives on like not necessarily rebounds, but changes in possession in the offensive zone, whether it's through forechecking or just cycling and jumping into empty spaces. I think Hyman makes more sense as long as Nylander can be a bit of a distributor. And I think for people who've been kind of criticizing Nylander not driving the net as much this year, I think a lot of that is because he's trying to get Tavares the puck. So you have to play a little bit more to the outside to get Tavares to be a shooter. So if they're both driving the net all the time, I mean, it sounds good on paper, but especially with Zach Hyman, who's a bit of a blunt instrument, you have to have somebody playing the perimeter to get the puck to the middle. You can't just always be skating it there because eventually teams are just going to line you up and take you out. So it's, I understand the need for it, but also, like, you just don't want to mess with a great thing either. Like, if it's working on the top line, you don't necessarily want to hurt the top line to help the second line. And I think what we're seeing as well is, it's been a slower transition than it probably should have been, but it's quite obvious now that, like, Tavares is not the first line center on the team, right? They kind of made it seem like that when he first joined the team, but Matthews has been better the whole time, and it's quite clear it's Matthews' team now.
So I also do want to ask you about Montreal because they're the other team in this game, and we don't want to fully go all Leafs. But what surprised you? But what has surprised you about this Montreal team? I know they went through a major, off-season makeover with their forwards and adding in, Anderson, bringing into Foley, which I found that was probably the most surprising one that they were able to get him. I felt like that a lot of teams missed out on Toffoli, but what surprised you the most about Montreal so far this season?
I've been kind of surprised at how good Jake Allen has been. I knew he would be a big upgrade for their the backups they've been running through over the last few years, but he's been really, really impressive. Josh Anderson, I think everyone expected a bounce back year after the catastrophic situation that he found himself in last year, but he's just been incredible. He's even faster than I thought, which is nuts to have a big man that quick. I guess it's just like the three lines that they have are really balanced and all very strong. So the fourth line is just decent, which is good enough. I think there's not a lot of necessarily big positive surprises for that team. I think that they are essentially what everyone thought they were going to be, who was paying a lot of attention. They've been dominating play at even strength for years now, but they just didn't have the guns to get some scoring out of it. And instead of getting, a superstar player, they've just added solid scoring depth throughout the lineup. And some games that works out spectacularly for them. And some games they just can't seem to get over the hump because they don't have a superstar. So they're a good team. I don't know if they're going to be a great team. I think they still have some serious weaknesses. And I think that as great as Claude Julien is as a systems coach, he still has a real affinity for competent bums on defense. And the situation with trying to cycle in Victor Mete and Brett Kulak, I'm very surprised that Joel Edmondson hasn't been part of that like rotating system of scratches. I don't know why he's immune. I think he is the Canadiens' worst defenseman. So it's very interesting to watch him make misplay after misplay. And you know what? Honestly, Ben Sherratt as well been awful tonight. So I'm surprised that him and Edmondson are just immune from being able to be scratched this long into the season. Because Kulak has been great. Victor Mete, the last few games, has proven that he's really important from a transition perspective. So they need to figure out what they're doing on defense a little bit. I think they have some good players, but they kind of have to do it by committee, and I do wonder how much that situation, like how far it can get you without any superstars. Because I think their closest to a superstar is probably Jeff Petrie, and he's also the wrong side 30. So it'd be interesting to see in a condensed season how him and Weber break down.
I find it kind of surprising that with the whole Joel Edmondson, like how happy Canadiens fans were when they brought him in. Like I thought, with what happened with Carl Alsner, I'm not saying they're the same players, but I'm like, it seemed like a similar situation where like they thought they were getting a very, stud defensive defenseman, and really hasn't been the case in that regard. Like,
yeah, I don't know why they thought that, because based on the numbers, Joel Edmondson has been like among the worst defensive defensemen in the league the last few years. So like, I don't know if they just saw him good during the playoffs when St. Louis won, but like he's not a good defensive defenseman. He has that like big body and willingness to be physical that I think a lot of people associate with being a defensive defenseman, but he's pretty porous in his own end. So I'm not exactly sure where that reputation came from. He's more of a guy who takes like more offensive risks, to be honest. Like he has a pretty decent shot. He can create some good plays. He's similar to Ben Sherratt in some respects, although I think Sherratt, when he's on his game, is much better defensively than Edmondson is. It's just both of them, when they get off their game, they run around trying to hit people and ignore the puck, and that's just never a smart way to play in the modern NHL.
it just seems like another thing, like with Leafs fans, they've been so big on Justin Hall this season. I think he's been pretty good, but it feels like, and Justin Bourne wrote an article for Sportsnet about this, and that you can't discount who he's playing with either. That kind of helps him get to where he is. Like I think if Justin Hall is playing with someone other than Jake Muzzin, I don't know if he's having the same type of season. Is that something that when you look and analyze the game, that's a big part of your analysis and breakdown?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't think Ben Sherratt would be on a top pair without Shea Weber, right? Although I do think Shea Weber is a tough defenseman to play with in a lot of respects because he's so conservative in his own zone. He kind of forces his partner to be very active. So if a player can't hack that, it becomes a big deal very quickly. With Edmondson, I mean, Petrie is obviously carrying the bag. Petrie has had such a great start to the season, but you look at his underlying numbers, and it's his worst in several years, and it's clear why that is. It's the guy he's playing with. So it's always part of the equation. It's really tough to separate like on-ice public data from who you're playing with. That's one of the things that I enjoyed working with Sport Logic for, is you can take individual numbers and figure out like what's a player actually doing when he's on the ice. And this is why like Austin Matthews was kind of given grief for a long time for not being a very good defensive player. But by the numbers that I had, like a lot of defensive metrics that are important, like winning puck battles, getting on loose pucks, separating the opponent from the puck, creating possession changes, he was always in the top like 10-15% of all forwards in the league. So like, yeah, the numbers are getting better now because he's getting better at anticipating important moments, and maybe he's a little bit more committed in his own zone, paying attention and being a team leader. But he's never been bad defensively, even if the on-ice numbers were not great. That hasn't really had much to do with him. And a big part of the reason why he's getting a lot of credit right now in particular is that this is probably the best defensive play that the Maple Leafs have ever had, or not ever, maybe, but this generation of the Maple Leafs have put forth. They are much better defensively than last year, much better than any other time since Matthews was drafted.
I was going to say, at least since Austin Matthews was drafted, and I think even when you look back, God, I have to say, like, look at Randy Carlyle years and Ron Wilson years, and you want to forget all those. because it's just
Although Carlisle has his own like special sauce on defense. Like his teams just get pounded in shot attempts, but for the most part, they're not high quality chances. So like, there's a reason why you look at there's like a huge deal or huge group of goaltenders who've had career seasons under Randy Carlisle. You know, James Reimer, Jonathan Bernier. Pretty sure John Gibson started playing great in Anaheim under him. He's an interesting guy because his teams protect the slot really well, but they just aren't very good anywhere else.
Jay, did you have any questions for Andrew?
Yeah, I actually, just to sort of talk about that with possession numbers for it. I always, whenever I watch a team like Carolina, I feel like they're always rated very highly for possession numbers, but I feel like a lot of theirs is overly inflated because I feel like they just have a ton of shots and they're not good shots. Is there like I want to know like what's the difference in between for statistics for them for shot attempts, which I'm sure they lead the league because they always seem to throw 1,000 shots to the net, and home plate area chances. Because whenever I watch them, I always look up at the scoreboard and I'm just like, how do they have 50 shots?
Yeah, I mean, they are when Carolina first started to show signs of being like a strong possession team a few years ago, back when like Bill Peters was their head coach. That was who they were. They just threw shots from anywhere, dominating teams in shots, but not really getting much in terms of quality chances. That's changed in the last few years. You know, part of that is like Sebastian Aho developing into who he is, adding Tuvo Teravainen, adding, you know, Niederreiter. Like they've got a lot more talent now than they used to have. And now they're one of the top teams in generating chances. And, you know, like I think one of the issues with Carolina is that on top of being one of the top teams of generating chances, they also still shoot from everywhere. So like they pile up shots, and I would say that their percentage of chances from dangerous areas is not spectacular. Like it's nothing special, but because they're piling up so many shots from all over the ice, their raw totals in like high quality shots are still very good. So they're a team that I think if they hadn't crapped the bed against Boston last year in the playoffs, a lot of people will probably view a lot differently coming into this year. But I think they are a Stanley Cup contender if they can get any goaltending. I think the goaltending situation is the biggest question mark for them, and it seems like they just either haven't.
I don't think they've tried
very hard.
I don't think they've tried at all either.
I don't know if they just don't believe that goaltending is an area to spend money on, which is, you know, possible. A lot of data-driven analysis kind of hints that goaltending isn't necessarily reliable year to year. So maybe they've just decided to hope that one of their guys gets hot at the right time. I just don't think that the guys that they've brought in over the last several seasons are that great. I think they went for broke with Scott Darling and got really burned. So maybe they're gun shy on trying to add another named goaltender, but they need to do something there, or else it just seems like a waste to have such good underlying numbers, such a strong team depth-wise, and have top-end talent like Sebastian Aho, and then have, you know, some guy who used to play for Detroit 5 years ago or something end up being their starter in the playoffs and not doing much.
Yeah. And I guess one more question I have watching Montreal, I don't know. Whenever I watch them, there's nobody that comes over the boards where I get terrified at all. Like there's not one. And I kind of wonder how big a mistake was it for them not full out offer sheeting Aho as you were just bringing him up, to the point of, would Carolina have matched any number, or was that pretty much the perfect number for them? And that was the absolute last possible allotment of signing bonuses and money that was allowable for their ownership. Because, I mean, yeah, I don't know if it's the fact that the Leafs are playing this good, but I don't think they are personally. I just kind of think this entire Canadian division is crap. I think as a whole, like all the Canadian teams are pretty bad. Outside of maybe the Leafs because they have that talent. But like, I agree with what you're saying, but I'm trying to figure out if that was something that you think would make them more of a contender if they had, say, a Sebastian Aho instead of a Toffoli and a Josh Anderson or something like that.
Yeah, it's an interesting situation. It's hard to figure out like what would have happened had they done that. Like what changes would have been made. Would they have the money to sign Toffoli? It's a hard question to answer because they ended up kind of striking gold twice at center. So it's less of a big deal now, but you do want that star player. I think they're kind of in a situation where if you can't grow it at home, it becomes too expensive to do that. And I think you kind of have to look at who the Canadians take in the first round with the picks that would have gone in that Aho deal. Because it would have been like 4 first-round picks if you really want to get them. But at the same time, I liked what Bergevin did there. I know he took a lot of flack for it, especially on Twitter, from like people who think that they're super smart because they view everything after it's already finished. And, hindsight is very easy to criticize with. But, the Canadians kind of intuited that Tom Dundon was cheap and wouldn't sign Aho to a big deal. And a lot of Hurricanes reporters kind of made fun of the Canadians for thinking that. Because, look at how much money this guy has. Look at how much money this guy has. He could do whatever he wants. He could waste money up the yin yang. He bought like a football league and then like folded it for no reason. It's like, okay, fine, but like this guy also wanted to pay a general manager like $150,000 a year.
They're literally the most strange team I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
they cut corners in the weirdest ways.
Yeah, and like I'll be fully honest. Like my friend Eric Tulsky works for that team, and I wish him all the success in the world, and I hope he's well paid for what he does because I think he's a genius. But like that team is very strange in that you hear things like wanting to do a general manager search, paying less than what's ever been paid for a general manager in the last 30 years. And then, they pull in like, who knows what kind of names are willing to work for that. And I'm sure that in the end they paid a lot more than what they advertised. But then you heard what they were offering for Aho during that negotiation. It was about like half of what the Canadians offered. So yeah, it's a good idea that they signed that contract and matched it. But I don't think it was as sure a thing from the outside that they were going to match that contract as people wanted to pretend on social media. I think it was a good bet. It would have been better if he went harder for it. But, this team would be a different situation with Sebastian Aho. But I think that they're a better team than John is giving them credit for. I think Jake is getting them credit for. I think the Canadian division is not that bad, actually. I think they're definitely better than the division, on the West Coast. Like that has basically the Golden Knights and the Avalanche and a bunch of losers. And
perfect time to come back to.
The California teams are just a joke. Like all three of them are a joke. They're barely even NHL teams. So I think the Canadian division has a couple of bad teams in Vancouver and Ottawa, but Edmonton is a mediocre team with the two biggest offensive superstars in the game, not named Boston Matthews. So they're a team that, they're not great, but any given night they could beat any team in this league. The Winnipeg Jets are another mediocre team, but they have Connor Hellebuck who can change any game. And then I think the Maple Leafs, Canadians, and Flames are all legitimately good. You look at the way the divisions are broken down, and there's a lot of parity in the league, but I think only the East division is like arguably way stronger than the North division.
If I were to ask you, and this is kind of, we'll kick you off here, but
sure.
I want you to enjoy the game too.
Yeah,
you've been very, very generous with your time. If you were to make a pick for a Stanley Cup contender, or even just a Stanley Cup final, what would it be right now?
Ooh, Stanley Cup final? I'm going to say Carolina and Colorado.
Ooh, okay. Ooh. We spent a lot of time talking about Carolina too, so I think it's only appropriate.
Yeah, I think eventually the Carolina Hurricanes are going to just go crazy in the playoffs, and their depth is going to carry them through. But I don't see anybody beating Colorado this year. Things can happen. They can lose 2 goaltenders to injury like they did in the playoffs last year. But They are so incredible. Depth at every position, and then Nate McKinnon is just nuts.
Do you think Colorado's season last year would have been different if their goalies didn't get hurt in
Oh
that
yeah,
playoff bubble?
oh yeah, for sure it would have. I don't think Dallas beats them with a healthy Grubauer in net.
Yeah, I find that very interesting because I think Colorado. Yeah, we always rave about them when we talk about them because of all the guys they've been able to add, and you're just like, how do they add them? Like most of them
Yeah,
have
like
been
where's this cap space coming from? Oh,
Caps.
right, it's Nathan McKinnon making half of what he should be.
Exactly, exactly. Andrew, I definitely want. Oh, Jake, you have one more question?
Yeah, I got one more question on a Canadian theme thing. With all the stuff that's been going on with the Coyotes, you think, especially with this pandemic, you think there's any chance they cut them? They just cut bait with them, and there's a chance that Quebec City comes back in? Because I look at this, and weekly there's some games where this division could definitely be spiced up, and I can't think of one positive thing that's happened for the Coyotes in 10 years.
Oh boy.
Yeah, they made the playoffs last year.
Hooray.
I honestly didn't even know they made the playoffs.
Yeah, they traded for Taylor Hall last year.
I knew that. Yes, I knew that. I completely forgot they made the playoffs.
Yeah, they did. I think they beat the Predators.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the Predators.
Which isn't really a great thing, but
No,
I just kind of look, and even when ESPN is reporting on these things, which is a rarity, I'm a math major, but I'm not like an accountant. I don't see any way how financially it is responsible for them to just pretty much drag the rest of the league down, because there's no way they're not losing $30 million at this point, because they're spending a lot of money
a year.
Yeah.
How is that possible in a professional sports league in North America? It's something I've honestly had thoughts about for probably 10 years now, but I can't think about how there's not a breaking point, especially with the fact of this pandemic and complete loss of revenue for a team that already loses tons of revenue.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's like one of those questions where, like, how long can one team be a gong show before people just get fed up and vote them out? Like vote them off the island, to use a very outdated reference. But I mean, the NHL has just been willing to back that team over and over and over again. They clearly want that market. And when they did make the playoffs back when they were like consistently pretty decent, they were selling out the arena. So I'm with you. I just don't see it there. It seems like such a niche market, but at the same time, you kind of look at like Austin Matthews wouldn't exist without the Arizona Coyotes, right? So like that's probably their biggest contribution to hockey in general.
That's the biggest contribution in the last 10 years. Awesome.
That was going to be the point that I was just to back up Andrew, because like I was having a conversation with my coworker about the latest, like a scandal, if you want to call it, with the Coyotes, and one of the points that I said that too, what Jake was saying, like should they start considering relocation because of how crazy it is, and then my coworker was saying, but hockey's growing more and more in Arizona, especially I think with some universities now in the state getting hockey programs. So I was like, is that even worth it at the end of the day, with knowing that there's a community growing in that, and just try to fight through it? Or do you just say, forget it, they already got the established base, let's move them anyways, to avoid the tire fire getting worse?
So not to cut off Andrew, but I actually am one of the few people who actually think it would work if they had an arena in a place that was accessible to people.
Yeah.
And like, it's awful. It's in Glendale. Why not have it in Scottsdale or downtown Phoenix? And for me, I think the investment for it to work would be probably $1 billion, because you'd need a brand new arena, which they'd hopefully, combine with the Suns. I know they had issues with that arena, but I know they've done great things with Arizona State and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I don't see how you can get an owner who will sign up to basically sink, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars into rebuilding something that might not work.
Yeah, and there's no way that any government official in that region should be willing to pay for it either.
No, it was a disaster. It was a disaster the first time they did it, and I mean, I love the NHL. I love pro sports, but they should not be paying. They should not be using public money to build these rinks.
Agree.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think that's completely ridiculous. I think there's models that can be made where you can make money, just like the Leafs have done through. Look at their deal with Scotiabank, and the Rangers did it with Chase, where they are basically just getting paid fees from these sponsors up front to renovate their building. And I don't know. That's for me. Like I look at Quebec City, and whenever I look at all the new buildings coming up in Seattle and Las Vegas, which are fantastic and look like they're going to be fantastic markets, I just see that building that's absolutely gorgeous that is sitting empty, which is just, it's so sad to me, especially with this Canadian division we have. I think it would be great to have an eighth team to sort of round it out.
Yeah, I think
Oh, yeah.
for all our perspectives, it'd be great to have the Nordiques back. It would add some craziness to the hockey up here, but at the same time, I think from the NHL's perspective, most of the people who would spend money on a team in Quebec City are spending it now on Montreal Canadiens stuff, right? I think that's the way they see it, is like, what's the growth potential there? And the growth potential in Arizona, despite the team being a joke for the better part of our entire lives, is just way bigger. It's a huge market if they're able to break into it. And I think the NHL still, for some reason, seriously believes that it's going to happen. They just can't seem to get ownership there that isn't trying to screw somebody over or, hucksters. It's a sad situation. And part of the issue, I think, as well in Quebec is the ownership groups that are potential here. It's either Pierre-Carl Pelado and the Videotron Empire, which the NHL doesn't seem super enthused to deal with because they're like hard line in the separatist movement here, which is like
I knew it was
situation.
some political thing.
Yeah, and then like the only other group that would have money is like the Cirque du Soleil stuff, and like, are they even interested? It's hard to know, and other than that, you're getting into like ownership groups, which the NHL seems to not want to do. They didn't like it in Edmonton, so it's hard to know, like, read the tea leaves with that. I almost wonder if before going to Quebec City, also with the division alignments that they've been doing, if they try to move something closer to there, like if Houston gets a team.
And that was a team that I think not too long ago was being rumored.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people were bringing up Houston because there's an owner that wants to put a team there.
Yeah, so I think that's more likely if the Coyotes are moved, just because they seem to be working towards balancing the divisions, 8 teams in each, and moving someone into the north kind of unbalances everything again.
Yeah, no, I mean, I will say I thought it was going to be an epic disaster, them going to Las Vegas. So every move they've made pretty much has been fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
I hate on Gary Bettman for a lot of things, but the idea that he can somehow get the contacts to get so much money into a league that, in my opinion, is really far behind the others, the big two, which is basketball and football in terms of popularity, it's impressive. I mean, how he got $500 million from Las Vegas and then what is it, $650 million from Seattle it's incredible to me.
Yeah, it's really encouraging, and both organizations seem to be really well run as well. Like, on top of the investment of buying a team, both of them seem to be going hard in right away in terms of like building the team, like front office, everything, like, so committed situations. And I think the better expansion draft is probably a bit of a godsend for those teams as well.
Yeah.
They can jump into it right away and be somewhat competitive. So it's pretty good.
Last question. Right now, if you were offered the GM job for Seattle or Arizona, I think it's pretty easy. You'd take the Seattle job, right?
Well, the thing is, Seattle is going to be compared to Vegas, right? So they have a high bar that you have to meet.
Way too high.
Arizona, the bar is so low. I think I'd prefer the weather a little bit more in Seattle because I'm just not a super hot desert kind of guy. But man, the idea of just being able to turn Arizona around a little bit, you get so much credit. So I think I'd probably go Arizona.
Wow.
Well, I that's a great way to end it there. I want to really do thank you, Andrew, for coming and jumping on and answering all of our questions. We had quite a few of them, so glad you were able to pick up a lot of those for us.
My pleasure, guys.
We'll definitely have to have you on again. I've been trying to get Steve Dangle to join us. He apparently when you have a younger kid, it's a little bit harder.
Yes.
But I definitely want to have the two of you on together because I know that you and Steve go way back.
Yes, we do.
I think it would be live stream glory to have both of you on at the same time.
Yeah, count me in whenever that happens.
All right, we will. I will pressure Steve a lot more now to get it done. All right, thank you very much, Andrew. We'll talk.
Thanks, Andrew.
All right,
Thanks,
sounds
Andrew.
good. Talk to you later, guys.
Have a great night.
That was a lot of fun. I was gonna tell Andrew that I think it's criminal that he doesn't have like when I saw that he wasn't gonna be writing for Sportsnet anymore because of because he wasn't with Logique. I think that's how you say it.
Oh, here we go.
Oh,
yeah.
I was going to say, Jake, you're ahead of me by a couple of seconds now. What happened here?
Are you not on a stream tonight, Jake?
No, they got on national telly.
Hooray!
I'm in New York, so they threw the Islander game on
right.
on local TV where it
beautiful.
belongs. Wow, that was a messed up play that worked perfectly. That was such a lucky bounce.
Very fortunate.
Off a stick. Wow.
Off a
I will
stick.
say I've been very happy with what I've seen from Kerfoot the last few weeks. He's definitely.
I love Kerfoot's reaction, like he actually meant to make that pass. That was going right. That was going right at Price's pad. Yeah, Spetz's pass. Sorry. What would that put them in the lead for the division lead? 10 points, right?
Like ahead, I think.
Yeah,
so.
I think it's 10 points.
This will put them to 30, no?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, they're at 28 right now, so ahead of Montreal, yeah, it would be 10. It would be 10. Wow.
So one thing when we were talking when we were looking at we missed headlines when we were talking to Andrew, which is fine because Andrew just brought such great content for us. Apparently, out of the players in Nashville, Yossi, Ellis, and Rene might be the only untouchables on that roster, and it's kind of hard.
Ellis, you said?
Yeah. So Ryan Ellis, yeah.
Damn it. Okay.
That's the one guy I wish.
Yeah.
I wish that they would let go because I think he is a stud, but he is on a great contract too, and I guess that's why they would keep him. Just like you wouldn't put Dante Fabro in that conversation. I thought Fabro would have been someone you'd want to keep.
I don't know. I don't think he's that special. I mean, he's not really what I'd call building block.
So since we were talking with Andrew, it's 5-2 now.
Yeah.
We talked about the goal. We talked about what it means for like the goal that got called back. I'll admit I didn't fully see it all. I saw the replays and stuff.
Yeah, I was it just looked like a mess. I was trying to figure out too because at the volume low. I was just trying to figure out why they counted it and then they called back. I don't know what the call was, but I don't know what. I don't know. Like it just looked like a big mess.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna put up a little thing banner here. We're gonna go banner action for the stream. Let me see here. Create a banner.
What did you have in mind? Also, I apologize for leaving a little while during the talk with Andrew. I noticed that the family made nachos, and so I had to take advantage of getting those nachos before I came back.
Nachos, definitely. Alexander Kerfoot quietly on a 4-game point streak.
Look at that.
Yeah, I mean, we should trade him and Nick Robertson for Sam Bennett.
Where did you see that? You guys mentioned that as
Nick
a
Kiprios. Nick Kiprios.
Oh my god!
And Doug McClain said that. Doug McClain basically laughed at it, but
I wouldn't trade Kerfoot for
neither would I. Neither would I. There's not a lot of people I would. There's not a lot of people on the team I would actually trade for Sam Bennett.
I just think he is. I feel for him because like his development, he was a good player in junior. He was he was touted nicely going into the draft, but Calgary just did not set him up properly for success.
Well, I mean, he was just a guy that's just so thin. He's like, 170 pounds? I feel like he never puts on weight. And I don't know. I was never really high on him. I feel like it's pretty hard to be successful when you're a centerman that's like 170 pounds. I just don't know any that are good, frankly. And it was just kind of tough. And then when he came in the playoffs, he lit it up. And then, I don't know, I think he was kind of rushed.
Mm-hmm. I think, and it was funny because a friend of mine, Nick, asked what's going on with Johnny T. And I think there's some merit to, like, he hasn't looked the same. And I think Andrew mentioned it too, in that Nylander's trying to set up Tavares to be more so than I think Tavares is a better playmaker. I think a lot of people give him credit for. And I think maybe that's the issue, is that maybe Nylander needs to be the guy that, I think maybe that's the thing that needs to happen, is like Tavares they need to feed off each other more. I'm not too sure, but yeah, so I think this is a situation where you're kind of saying the Leafs are succeeding despite the second line not producing. Like, you're not comparing them to what the first line is doing, because they're not equally. What's going on here?
What is going on here? Like, who is this guy, man? Why does this guy think he's like? Why does this guy think he's like fucking prime Milan Lucic or something like that? Like, oh my god. Oh, he just tried to reverse hit him, and then he suckers him, and there's no penalty.
Oh no, they did call it. They did call roughing. They did. They called it.
I mean, it's obvious. Like, he should get 2 and 10. Like, what? I don't know. He's like a pretty good player, but yeah, he can relax.
Well, at least he tripped.
Then he tripped and looked like an idiot. He's also losing 5-2. And they're about to go level with what?
Oh,
Ottawa?
Muzzin got the power play. I thought it was flipping out.
What?
Anderson. I thought it was Anderson. Oh, it's 4-on-4. Okay,
Yeah,
so they called it. Okay, all right.
But I think that's a little bit of a joke right there.
Yeah, no, but to go off of headlines, that's exciting that they're going to get ESPN involved, for sure.
That's a bigger platform than NBC.
I mean, I think the good thing with NBC is they're getting rid of NBCSN, which it's tough. It's not on standard cable, basic cable in the US. So they were talking about getting it on, their more mainstream networks like USA Network and stuff like that, which is done really well. When they put playoff games on it, it does really well in ratings. I just think it would be perfect for them. Wow, Montreal is 4th place. What?
In the division?
Yeah. Oh my god.
No, we spoke about that earlier. Yeah, they
was off for a week. That's why.
I thought they were like 4 points behind.
They were, but I think the bye week, it just will set them back, knowing that the Leafs had the 3 extra games, and along with Winnipeg and Edmonton.
Wow. Hate to see that.
Yeah, no, I mean, like even we even said earlier, Jake, that in the league standings, right? I mean, that was like 1-2 Toronto, Montreal, and then Montreal dropped to 11th. because of the lack of games. So yeah, I guess that stung them a bit. So this is doesn't look good for them if the score holds up.
Nah, I think they should have lost every game. They should be 14 back or whatever the number is. I don't know. He thinks they're good. I'm not a big balance and I'm not a big team balance guy. I just don't think it works in sports, period. But he could be right. I think they'll probably win their first round matchup because they'll play against some donkey team like Calgary or Edmonton or something like that, and they could probably shut them down pretty easily. For me, it seems like a 2-horse race, and this has to be the Leafs' best shot to win because when you look at the league standings, what is basically their entire division in the top 10? Like, it's ridiculous. In the top 5, it's Florida, Tampa Bay, and Boston. And then Carolina is somehow number 1 in points percentage quietly. I did not know that at all.
Who's that?
Carolina.
Yeah, I've looked. I've followed them a little bit more this year just because I feel like they're a team that everyone's been focusing on. I agreed with Andrew in that you look at their team, their biggest weakness is their goaltending. Like they could use more scoring. I definitely think they could use another scoring forward to just give them a little bit more punch.
For me, I kind of think like if they can get internal production from, say, a Nick Robertson who gets healthy, I think that's the best case scenario for them. It's pretty hard to find. I think it would be great if they could find a left winger with size, a left-handed shot who has size, but they're almost impossible to find. I was one who wanted the Leafs to get Tyler Toffoli really badly, but come on.
Yeah, speaking of which,
there you go.
right on cue.
That was nice. Well, put Matthews on so he can get the empty netter now. Win-win.
There you go. Well, it's just this is the part about the Leafs that kills me though. You've got them. You got the stranglehold, and then you allow.
What happened to Muzzin?
Something hit him in the face or in the head.
That's a bad goal too.
That's not a good goal to give up. That's a bounce that went a weird way, but it's the defense. Like, how do you leave? How do you leave to?
I think it's because Muzzin was his man and he had to go, but I guess they're mad because he didn't blow the whistle on him. Whatever.
I love how defensive the ref is. Like he's like being accused of murder. It's like, no, you just missed the call, buddy. Apparently, based on what we're seeing here, yeah, they definitely need an empty net goal right now. I do not.
They threw him over the boards too.
Yeah,
there he goes. All right, here's where you cheat. 2-goal lead, you're allowed to cheat. Oh, he's not cheating too, you bastard. Quit being so responsible.
God. Oh man, yeah.
You got to stay near the point and stick lift.
Jake, actually, so we were asking Andrew about Austin Matthews and being able to score 50 this year, and like he says, he can definitely do it. He's got a shot, but
especially in he got hit, he got high sticked.
Oh,
that's a penalty. I mean, that's a penalty, man.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's an accident. It's literally in the rule book.
Yeah, okay. I'll give Justin Hall a little bit of credit. I guess Toffoli was just like, I'm not getting a penalty. Okay,
that's the rule. You have to keep your stick in control. I've gotten that penalty. It's really dumb, but it's a penalty.
Yeah, I've seen those calls go against the Leafs too. In that regard, so yeah, I think like with the way that Matthews is scoring.
I just think he's in a perfect setup in this division where defending is pretty bad. So he's going to have a chance to get 2 or 3 goals in a bunch of these games.
I think he has the number of a lot of these goalies. Like he just knows how to beat them.
I mean, I think he can get 12 to 15 against Ottawa alone. They're that bad. Man, I don't think he's a great defenseman anymore, but holy Christ, that was a missile.
He's probably the only he's the one guy where you see him
Look
wind
at
up
this.
for.
This is an absolute rip. Look
When
how
you
quick that
see
hits
him
there.
wind up for a slap
It's
shot,
a great save too.
I'm not. Oh yeah, I'm not getting in the way of that shot. I'm not
No,
blocking.
that's just stupid.
That's pure suicide.
Man, I'll never get guys who dive like face first in front of a shot. You're actually an idiot. And they're just like,
just like the Zaitsev one. I don't know if you saw
it. He missed it.
Just a bit short. Just short.
Nah, that was terrible. Come on, man. Guy's got like 20 goals this year. How are you missing that bunny? That's
He
knew it too.
easy.
He knew it as soon.
Yeah, as soon as
he
you
waited
hit
a few
it,
seconds.
yeah, you miss it.
He knew it.
Yeah, he is way too high up his blade. It's got to be closer to his toe to get that. All right, cheat. Oh, okay.
Here you go. Come on. I kind of want to see.
I
want to see.
Come on, Hyman. Come on, Hyman. Oh no! What was that? Don't change. Do not change.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Hyman.
Marner. You
Marner.
idiot. God, he's got awful hands, man.
Okay, just break. Are they getting a penalty right now?
They are.
Okay, Matthew, just beat him on the power play. Take
the Foley to the box. Yeah, that is a penalty. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little. Oof. That's not a nice. That's not nice. Is he like?
Oh, the goalie's back in. Yeah.
Yeah, no, just beat him. Now Matthews apparently Matthews needs a goalie in net to try to beat him. Matthews doesn't score a lot of empty net goals. I was going to look that up.
No, I think he's got 2. If I had to guess, I think he has 2. He's not on the power play.
Yeah, they put Engvall. They put like Engvall on the power play. You know that's just a slap in the face of Montreal. Put Engvall on the put your third line on the power play. Well, that was that game. Based on how that second period would go, I didn't think that game was going that way.
Yeah, or let alone the start of the game, but
oh my God, yeah, that was
let alone the start. Oh boy, my camera's shaking here, but I'll take it.
So Lee Spear just sent out a tweet, which was, did you know Austin Matthews is the 12th player in NHL history to open the scoring in 4 consecutive team games. Nobody has ever extended the run to 5. All right, we're about to see if the next game is against, I want to say, Edmonton.
Why did they think this was a thing playing this during the day? I don't know why.
It's Calgary on Monday. On Monday. And are you talking about Lake Tahoe?
Yes.
Oh yeah, we were laughing at that earlier. It's beautiful. It's just stupidly beautiful. How dumb they could have been, but well. Nice scenery.
Yeah.
All right.
So did he just pass Draisaitl tonight in points? Yeah, I think he did.
Who, Matthews?
Yeah.
I think Edmonton plays tonight.
So they do. They're playing
that's
Calgary
next. That's why I said right now.
Right now. Whether it stays like that?
Probably not. I mean, the Oilers were probably playing, 34 minutes?
Jake, remember when we were talking earlier this week about Austin Matthews and like how Connor McDavid was probably running away with the Art Ross?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll wait on that a little bit because Marner's catching up.
He's probably still going to win, but yeah, it's definitely not the fait accompli, as they say. It's not like it's not the finished stat for sure. He'll probably win though, just because you got to think the Leafs will probably settle them down for ice time down the stretch, considering they're 10 points up on everybody.
I said this game was big just to give yourself a little bit of you got to get that cushion. I mean, I don't think anyone's gonna make a big run to catch up to Toronto. Like,
I don't see anybody. I mean, Edmonton's got a nice little run going, but I don't think they're very good.
like I'm just looking at four. It's just like 4 of the 5 top scorers of the NHL are like it's McDavid, Draisaitl, Marner, Kane, Matthews. Also get
Well, those guys are probably all top 10 players if you had to look at it.
yeah, oh yeah. Like first off, Patrick Kane. Give the guy a lot of credit. I mean, I know Chicago's bad, and that means he gets more offensive chances. But the fact he's still putting up production is ridiculous.
Yep. Oh, he's fantastic. Oh my god, man, that ice looks so bad.
What channel is that game going to be on? I
don't know. It was on. I don't even know. That's a good question.
Because
it's on NBC.
I'm wondering if hold on, we would usually get programming announcements about that. So I'm just curious to know how they were going to change because they had to move the game time. Did they have to change where it was going to be played? Oh, nice tidy win for the Leafs though. Like considering like what happened against Ottawa.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely like the way that ended.
So I know we were, just to clarify, not to go back to this, but I know we were talking about what happened with that goal. So what they were saying was, they scored, and then
I mean he basically just pushed his pad in the net.
Yeah, they reviewed it. They reviewed the initial goal. They counted as good, and then that's when Sheldon Keefe said, "Okay, I want to challenge you for goal interference." And then they said that just Barry pushed Anderson's pad to get the puck in the net, and then they immediately ruled it off. So I don't get why they didn't see that initially.
Because they're idiots.
Right. That is also a factor. But the NHL later issued an explanation, but only referenced the goaltender interference challenge, saying that just because of the pad itself. But I mean, didn't matter at the end of the day. They still would have been down 1. But
probably would have changed the game, but
a little bit, yeah. Matter. But yeah, that's just the clarification.
Not a goal. I mean, unless you're just if you're gonna do that, I'll just trip and fall face first in the goalie and push him in the net. That's a goal, right?
Yeah.
It's stupid.
Figured to clarify it just because I know we were confused.
Especially after the Gordon stuff, like his goal getting disallowed because of that. You can't push the pad in. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I'm just surprised that. I mean, yeah, like Jake said, they're idiots, but it's just hilarious that they looked at that first before the coach's challenge and said, okay, yeah, you know what, it's good. And then Sheldon's like, what are you saying? Okay, now let me use my challenge, which was obviously an excellent challenge, but yeah, made no sense.
So the Leafs have 7 of 8 points this week.
Should have had 8, but I'll take 7 of 8.
Yeah,
just like a couple of weeks ago against with the Canucks, right? I think, or that road trip, 7 of 8 as well, right? So that's what they need. I'll take that.
So something to bring up here, gents. William Nylander did not play for the final 8:45 of that third period.
He hasn't played well at all. Neither is Tavares, so I don't hate it.
Nice little wake up call for them, I think.
They really need a boost. They need a boost. I mean, they're playing what with Mikheyev right now in that line?
Hyman actually. They've been bumping Hyman and Kerfoot, I think, between the two.
Okay.
So,
yeah, I don't know. I don't think either of them are particularly good. I mean, people make a lot of excuses for them. I don't know.
Like, look,
I don't see it. I don't think they've been good at all.
They haven't been like last season. Last season they were really good together. Like Nylander went on that stretch of games where he was just scoring at will. But this year, yeah, they haven't looked the same. And Berkshire's brought that up. He says Nylander's still a good player, but this season he hasn't looked the same. He's saying like he mentioned like, Nylander's definitely not attacking the areas he's used to because he's trying to get Tavares the puck more. So I think, there's some merit to that. Hyman isn't, who did they play with last year at that final stretch this season? Who was the left winger? Very curious. I don't even remember now. Oh my god.
For the Leafs?
Well, no, last year who, because when they moved Marner to play with Matthews, I'm just trying to figure out who's moved up.
Oh boy. I have no idea. I would
I mean,
Kyle Clifford, Pierre Engvall, Janssen,
I know
Trevor
that
Moore.
Natural Stat Trick has a tool. They have like a thing that could check what guys he's played with. So let me do that now. Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know you guys have a lot of love for him. I
I
wouldn't
don't
be
have.
upset if he. I wouldn't be upset if he moved at all.
I wouldn't either. I'm not saying he's deserving of all. He's not exempt from criticism, and I don't think. I think if you find a trade that makes your team better, you do it. I'm not of the mindset you just throw him away. That's
No,
what
that's always been idiotic.
that's my issue with it. People are just like, you can't win with him. Well,
I actually kind of agree with that.
yeah. What's was it Andreas Janssen he was playing? They were playing with.
That's who I just read off. Yeah, I was just
Okay.
listing off like the left wingers, like you, like yeah, those are the people that I
I
said could
think
have been.
I think it's probably Janssen that they played with last year. That would make sense. Kerfoot sometimes, but I think it was mainly Janssen. Like they're definitely not the same. And look, I, I don't know. I just think that you have to find the right move to make it work.
For me, if Nashville's selling off, um,
I think
I
Nashville
am
could
doing.
use it.
I'm doing. I'll pay honestly anything if they could swap him and somehow come away with Philip Forsberg. I would do. I'd trade almost anything.
Well, I mean, in that report, they didn't say that Philip Forsberg
That's
wasn't
why
for
I
sale.
mention it.
So
I would trade. I trade. They want. I would consider trading Nylander and Robertson plus.
I would. Phil Forsberg is
He's
that
that
good.
good. He's amazing, and he doesn't make a lot of money either. I think he probably makes less than Nylander if I had to think.
You're probably. I can look that up very quickly. Let's see here. Let's see. He is making 6 million, so he is making less. He has one more year left on his deal too.
Who Forsberg?
Yeah.
Ah, shit. Didn't know that.
So I would maybe not include Robertson.
I didn't know that.
So that's the thing.
Yeah.
Hey, if you can do Nylander and Forsberg, I think if you're Nashville, you're like, well, at least we got a guy that's around longer. But you want another asset.
I'm trying to think what he'd make on a long-term deal. Probably like
Forsberg?
$8.5 million.
Let's see. Last year he had
He had to have had 30 plus.
he had 48 points in 63 games. He's yeah. Well, he's a guy. I think you can get him in the $7 million range. Like you can get him roughly to what you're paying Nylander. I think. I don't think he's earned a big raise based on what he's produced. He's a UFA at the same time, so he can garner whatever he wants.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, if you're you got to look for every avenue to make your team better. I think there's only a couple players that are untouchable in the Leafs, and it's Marner Matthews. No one's taking Tavares because that's a tough contract to trade for.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty much three guys that are untouchable in my opinion. Everybody else, give me your best offer. Like I can't name another player I wouldn't trade.
No.
The problem here is, and we know it, Kyle Dubas has gone to bat for William Nylander.
God knows how many times.
It's reached a point though. I mean, he's got to basically tell him like, listen, I can't just keep doing this if you're not going to reciprocate for me. I mean, it's great when he does what he does last year, but if he's not producing, I mean, pretty much the only thing he brings to the game is scoring. So if he's not doing that,
scoring in neutral zone play, like he's a good neutral zone player, but he doesn't do it in the defensive end. The thing is, and Ray Ferraro said this before too, if you're a good offensive player, you better always be a good offensive player, because if you don't have the other tools, you're gonna have a hard time.
Yep.
And I think that's the problem with Nylander. He's such a good offensive player that if he's a good offensive player, but if he's not producing offensively, what else does he do for you? And that's the problem.
Nothing.
At least Tavares is a better defensive player than we give. Like, I think some people.
He's got to pick his ass up too.
He does. He's turning over the pucks like it's nothing. I'm not a fan of that. I just think I can trust Tavares more so to be a good, reliable defensive player than Nylander. And I think maybe, you know what? Maybe, as you said, maybe he's thinking too much about being that responsible player on the line. I don't know. Something needs to change, though. Maybe just for a couple of games, you move Nylander somewhere else. Just get a different feel for it. I don't know. You know, when Phil Kessel went to the Pittsburgh Penguins, he didn't play top six right away. He was third line with Bonino and was it Rust? What was that line in Pittsburgh? I'm trying to remember now in the playoffs. I know it was Bonino, Kessel,
and Hagelin.
Hagelin, that's it. That line was a barn burner. But that's the thing. Sometimes, you know, you think that's the fit, but it might not be the fit. So, yeah. So, I know Chris is. This is the problem with doing the chats and keeping track of what's going on at the same time. Like, if I'm looking at Nashville, do you try to? Here's a trade offer I saw. Somebody told me, Jake, and you tell me what you think of this. Morgan Riley and William Nylander to the Ducks for Hampus Lindholm, Rickard Rakell, and a second-round pick.
Yeah. Yes.
And I'm thinking to myself,
where did you see that?
Oh, it's someone I know just threw that out there.
Yeah, I'd do that.
The thing is, why would Anaheim do it?
Perceived upgrade? I don't know. I think Rakell's a better player. I think Lindholm they're probably the same age, right? I think there was the exact same draft. They were, 5'6", weren't they?
No, I think Lindholm was a year after.
No, he was in the Yakupov draft.
Was he really?
Yeah. Okay, he hasn't been that good. He's all right. Lindholm, probably not. Never mind. I thought he was better. Maybe like Cam Fowler. Yeah, I'd do that.
Like, Lindholm's not a bad player. Rough. Yeah,
I'm gonna need one pretty big upgrade.
The thing is you need that offensive.
I think if you could get those two and like a Maxim Comtois or something like that, I'd do that.
That's what I said. I said, look, I don't deny Rakell. Like, Rakell's getting up there in age. He hasn't been the same player as he was a few years ago. But if you get another guy with some upside along with it, I'd do it.
Yeah, no, he's a really good player.
Matthew Tkachuk for Willie. Nick, I don't think Calgary's doing that. I think right now there's only one player on Calgary that is untouchable, and that's Matthew Tkachuk.
Probably.
I think that's stupid.
I don't
know why he would be untouchable. I think he's a good player, really useful. I just don't think he helps them in terms of winning. Then again, I just don't think Calgary's a very I think they're a treadmill team, a team that's going to be good but not good enough for years and years and years because they don't have any really great players.
I'll just say this is that Matthew Tkachuk is their best player, and that's the problem. They don't have a guy that's better than Tkachuk that they should.
He's also like not a game breaker. He's just like really gritty.
He brings the style that
he's like an elite role player. Probably like the best role player in the league.
Yeah, and actually,
Damn,
I think
Raquel's having a terrible year.
this is what I'm saying. You
I
can't.
just don't watch the league, so I don't.
That's the problem. And the guy that mentioned it to me, I'm like, have you watched? He's like, oh, it's because Anaheim's been on the downhill. I'm like, well, why do you think they're on the downhill? Because guys that
Comtois is the leader in points. He's got 7 goals. Oh my god, how many goals does this team have? Like 25?
no, Jake, they beat they played Vegas. They won
Let me
1-0.
count. Let me count this. 10, 15, 16, 17, 20, 22, 25, 26, 26, 30. They have 32 goals. How is that possible? How do you have 32 goals? Matthew says 18. Oh my gosh.
I know,
Awful.
like they're just gonna bottom out for a couple of years, and but that's not even gonna be enough for Anaheim. They really screwed themselves when they traded Shea Theodore so they can protect Sami Vatanen, then trade Sami Vatanen to get Adam Henrique, who they just placed on waivers.
Yeah, Shea Theodore, that's a big miss. He's
That
fantastic.
was holy smokes! How did not every team in the league not try to get Shea Theodore?
They took they traded him to protect Manson too. That's really bad. So I'm trying to think who's got less goals than Anaheim.
Probably Ottawa.
Literally nobody.
No one.
Nobody has less goals than them, and they've played 17 games. Jersey's played 12, and they have the same amount. So they're the worst offensive team in the league.
Yeah. So hey, we be doing them a favor.
The Leafs have over twice as many goals.
Yeah, the Leafs have. I mean, based
72.
on 72,
like a lot more than twice.
Yeah, like Minnesota
and New Jersey. I was going to say they're all 33 apiece with Anaheim.
And Minnesota, I feel like they're beating the Ducks 2-0 right now.
Oh, but Minnesota's only played 13 games, so give them a few more games.
Minnesota, man, I really want them to get a first overall pick. They deserve it. I would like to go there once they allowed full crowds back in arenas. I hear it's always awesome to watch their games.
Yeah, I want to watch a game. Minnesota is such an underrated hockey market in some respects. Yep. I feel like they produce so many players.
Yeah, they do.
Like Minnesota is a team I thought was going to trade off some guys. Like Kaprizov is really good, but again, you need who's the center that's going to pair with Kaprizov? They don't have that guy.
No,
they need it. And how do you get it? And Andrew said this. You
got to draft it. That's the only way you get it.
It's too expensive,
especially elite centers too. They just don't ever go anywhere.
It's too expensive to add it elsewhere. This is why the biggest expense the Leafs have gone through is that top 4 right-handed shot defenseman. We had to trade Nazem Kadri for a guy we thought it was in, and it wasn't the right move. But the thing is now, the funny thing is like people think that William Nylander is going to get that. Well, perceived value. And Andrew was right about this because I asked him about this. He's like, look at the guys who are going to be thinking about making these trades. These are older hockey guys. How are we going to expect them to value Nylander enough to make that type of deal? Really, you got to look at a team that's going to understand his skill set and utilize it properly. I don't know what team that is. Is it Nashville? I don't know. Nashville seems to want to put Grimaldi in the lineup over Tolvanen. Like what?
Yeah, that guy's falling off a cliff, which is sad.
That's where goal scorers apparently go to die now in Nashville. Duchesne, Johansson. These are guys that were once, half decent.
Yeah, that was a big miss by me. I thought they would be really good, but their goaltending has just been horrific.
Goaltending has been bad, and coaching. I think it's coaching too because
who even is their coach?
It's the guy that was in New Jersey. No, Peter Boer's in Vegas. It's John Hines.
Right.
Like seriously, John Hines? That's the best you can come up with after you let Peter Laviolette go? Come on.
Not good.
That's where the NHL really annoys the hell out of me. It's like Make-A-Wish with these coaches and GMs that get hired? Why is John Ferguson Jr. in coaching in GM candidate? Like, why? Why is Peter Chiarelli, who's traded first overall picks like it's nothing? Yet the NHL needs. I mean, it's front offices that need to realize that things need to change and be different. And that's my issue, though, is I just don't know. And Chris just mentioned in our chat, it's actually tough to find a good trade for Nylander. Like, you need to find a team that will see his skill set and be like, yes, we can make it work. I mean, before Brian Burke went there, Pittsburgh, they seem to want to take our guys, but they have nothing I want. Like, Pittsburgh has nothing I want. Detroit, would Stevie Y do it? I don't think so, but maybe. Like, they have. Would Tampa do it? Tampa's got nothing I want. Who's got the thing that the Leafs need? We said Nashville. I think Nashville would be a good fit. It would seem.
I've always said the Blues with Colton Parayko.
Oh, please! If they ever made Colton Parayko available, but they're contending. They're not going to do it.
Who knows?
It's just I don't know. It's such a tough trade to make, and this is what, year 3 of Nylander's deal. Like, he's got 3 more years after this. If I'm looking at the cap friendly for it, let me see here.
I thought that was more recent.
Oh, he has after this year he has 3 more years. So.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, 3 more years, and he's a UFA in 2024.
So, I don't know. I don't know. I don't see a team right now. It's not going to be a Canadian team. Like, you're not trading him to Ottawa. You're not trading him to Montreal wouldn't want him. He would get crucified in Montreal. But you look at what's going on with Duran.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Philly. Like, I'm looking at teams, and I'm trying to think. Definitely no on the Islanders. My God, Lou Lamoriello would never trade for Nylander.
Probably not.
Philly, maybe Philly. They seem to like. That seems like a maybe. The Rangers. Do the Rangers have so many wingers though? I don't think that would be a fit. I like the Devils as a potential. I like Chicago needs some young blood. But again, they got nothing I want. It's like, who has something that would make that the Leafs can use now? Because you can't trade him for futures. You need something for him. So I don't know. I feel like also the Leafs just win a game and we're trying to figure out a way to trade a guy, but it's at the same time it's like this is the year where I think the Leafs have the best chance to do something here.
Yeah, you got to think Boston will probably. Oh, damn, I keep saying that. This has got to be the year, like the last year. They're like Bergeron's like almost 40.
Yeah, it didn't help that Pasternak came back and just started crushing teams.
He's really good, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't see them, like, they just don't have anything but that line. They just have like a bunch of dudes, pretty much, and all this cap space they have. They didn't get Hoffman or Taylor Hall or anything, which is inexcusable.
So, I think this is gonna, maybe we have to do a podcast on this.
Yeah,
we've been. Maybe we'll end the stream there because we're getting to the 3-hour mark and I'm almost dead and want something to drink. I've been sitting. I have not moved for 3 hours. I'm a little scared of what I'm going to try to do when I try to get up again. I want to thank Andrew Berkshire for joining us. Jake, thank you for coming on. I feel like you picked the right time to come on and talk with Andrew.
Mm-hmm.
Such a great. He has such great perspectives. Level-headed too, I find.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good to have him on. Jose, thank you for coming on.
as always.
We'll have to figure out when we're gonna do the next one. I have to look.
I thought we said next Saturday. Did we say the 27th?
I think Saturday. I think Saturdays do work better. I think that would work for me. So, I'll double check that, and we will.
Yeah, because they got the Flames Monday, Wednesday, and then the Oilers next Saturday.
I'm trying to plan one, as I said, with Berkshire. Ooh, Sam Bennett just caught a guy with a headshot, I think.
No way. I gotta pull this up.
Ooh, I don't know if it's a headshot, but he got a guy high.
Let's see. Who was it?
On that defenseman on the Oilers has a weird name.
Kokanen?
Yeah.
Oh, Cuckoo
or something like that.
That's Riley's buddy.
Yeah, he took a pretty bad shot there. So yeah, we'll I think we'll bring this Nylander conversation to a podcast form with Austin and hey, maybe we got to get Chris on, Jake. You got to push that. So I want to thank you guys all again. We've hit the 3-hour mark, which means we are done. I said I would never go over 3 hours, and I am going to stick to that. So thank you again, and we'll catch you on the next live stream.
Good night, everybody.
Night.
Oh, I just saw the hit. Oh boy.